Chapter 5776. Chapter 5776. The appearance of the chaos spirit drove Long Fei into madness. At this time, his obsession with power has become like a madman. There is only one voice in his heart, and that is to become stronger. As long as the swallowing can become stronger, no matter what it is, he won't care about it. Boom, boom, boom. The nothingness and chaos instantly rioted, and as the terrifying devouring power erupted from Long Fei's body, the face condensed by the spirit of chaos also revealed a look of panic. As the spirit of chaos, the whole chaos is her carrier, so she naturally knows the horror of Long Fei's devouring along the way. Long Fei, you will regret it. The chaos spirit spoke again, just like what he said before. The only difference was that at this time, he called out Long Fei's name in one gulp. Long Fei paused and looked towards the chaos in the sky. He knew that the spirit of chaos had been hidden. How do you know me? Long Fei's eyes were full of shock. He came to this chaotic world along the passage of time. Here, he is a person from another time and space. Logically speaking, if he does not belong to this time and space, it is naturally impossible for anyone in this time and space to know him. However, at this moment, the spirit of chaos called out his own name, which was the key to Long Fei's shock. Not only do I know you, but I also know why you came here. But you are wrong. You have already taken the opposite path invisibly, said the chaos spirit. There was surprise in Long Fei's eyes, and his child's eyes tightened. The opposite way. Is it possible? Everything I am doing now is to stop the apocalypse. If it is the opposite way, then what is it that I am doing now? Open the apocalypse robbery? Destroy everything? How can it be? I have never had this kind of thought. Bewitching is useless. I can go this far, which is enough to prove that my heart is as strong as iron. You can't control my will, and you can't change your ending either. Long Fei said calmly, www. Novel. Calm, extremely indifferent. At this moment, the words of the chaos spirit made him extremely irritated. The system said before that he would regret it, and now this chaos spirit is like this. But why would he regret it? As thoughts flickered, Long Fei's eyes were full of hostility, making him even crazier. In the next moment, his figure poured directly into the chaos. Suck. Long Fei opened his mouth and sucked, and the boundless and terrifying devouring power erupted. In an instant, the aura of this chaotic world poured into his body like a storm. He could even feel an almost full power surging in his body. Cool. This feeling of full power makes Long Fei feel extremely refreshed. He has been chasing power all his life, and he has experienced too much in order to climb to the top. But at this moment, as the power transformed by the spirit of chaos entered his body, he truly felt the unparalleled power. It was even scarier than when I was alone. However, the system didn't make any sound at this time. But Long Fei ignored it. He also had doubts about the system, and the system remained silent at this moment, so he didn't bother. Re-entry is the only one. With my current strength, it should be easy to break this piece of chaotic world. Long Fei thought in his heart. His eyes burst into madness. He couldn't wait to prove his strength. After all, he still has work to do. Even if he doesn't believe in the system now, he doesn't want to take risks. After all, Nuwa's life and death are also related to it. Long Fei, stop. Otherwise, when you realize it in the future, you will definitely regret it. The spirit of chaos reappeared, but at this time she was already a residual spirit. Not only was her breath extremely weak, it seemed that she would dissipate at any time. Even his tone of voice became extremely weak, as if he had accepted his fate. Long Fei didn't take it seriously. He has no mercy. He scoffed at her words. Regret? Why should I regret? As long as I devour you and other creatures in the chaos, my power will reach an unprecedented height. Then I can create gods and demons, dragons and phoenixes, witch races and human races. I can create civilizations one after another to bring everything out of order and get back on track. Similarly, when I finish these, I can, in the prehistoric era, if I detonate the conferred God quantity calamity, I will get the real cause of the calamity. At that time, I will be able to unravel the true mystery of the land of origin and prevent the apocalypse. Tell me, why should I regret it? Long Fei continued. Kenshu, Zai with grave, but his explanation is more like a kind of self-comfort. It was as if he was telling himself and giving himself an explanation. He. Long Fei, the spirit of chaos, smiled miserably and no longer responded. It even dissipated on its own initiative and finally turned into a ball of pure energy and poured into Long Fei's body. And in front of him, the chaos of the world also dissipated. At this moment, Long Fei's strength finally changed again. Even a familiar force was sensed by Long Fei again. That power is cultivation. It is all the power that I have controlled before. Cultivation recovered? Was it unlocked by the system? Long Fei was overjoyed, and before he had time to think about why the chaos spirit would suddenly dissipate by itself to perfect himself, he was shocked by this sudden scene. No, it's impossible. The dog system already has 2 minds, so how could it help me? So my devouring power is strong enough, has reached a critical point, and then broke through the power of the system? Long Fei thought again. It was the only answer he could think of. The power to break through the system? So now that my 2 powers have merged, my cultivation has reached a new high? Long Fei's eyes flickered. At this moment, he has a feeling. 3 words. Invincible. Other than that, he couldn't find any other description. Even at this moment, he had an urge to compete with the sea. No matter how strong Dahai's cultivation is, he has never surpassed the limit of the only one, and I should be the limit of the only one at this moment. He was the analyst, his eyes were burning like fire. Boom. Suddenly, without waiting for his reaction, a white glow descended from the sky. Long Fei slowly shifted his gaze, looking at the figure in front of him. His eyes were indifferent. You devoured the spirit of chaos. A big man with a huge axe said, hatred and anger intertwined in his eyes, and he regarded Long Fei as an enemy. I didn't look for you, but you came here on your own initiative. Just leave the matter of opening the sky to me, and you can become my nourishment. Long Fei said. His figure flickered and turned into a black hole, directly filled the entire chaotic black hole. This is the ultimate state of devouring power. Directly wrap the world, and even the plane. It can be said that in this state, he can devour everything. Whoosh whoosh. In an instant, one after another figures began to melt at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even if they were demon gods, even if they were the only ones, they would burst like bubbles in an instant. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, sure, you also found 3 books beside it. Sure, you picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure, you... The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, pet breeding base, trainee pet keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5777. Chapter 5777. One after another figures began to disappear before their eyes, except for Pangu and a few demon gods who controlled the treasures that the Chuangshi Qinglian decomposed and turned into. The remaining dozens of demon gods lost their resistance in an instant and disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. Impossible! How could you be so strong? It's only been a few days. Why are you so terrified? Pan's eyes were extremely shocked. He also sensed Long Fei's breath before, but he feels that he is in the chaos now. And as the first creature conceived by the chaos, coupled with the power possessed by controlling the creation Qinglian, he thought he could change the ending, change the fate of the chaos being swallowed, and then continue to execute his own actions. Duty of. That's why he summoned the demon gods to deal with Long Fei. But at this moment, Long Fei's terror was completely beyond his control. Long Fei, who had already transformed into the sky of the black hole, naturally couldn't hear his words. The terrifying devouring power was still running crazily, devouring everything. In an instant, the demon figures in front of him disappeared one by one. Even the treasure that was transformed into the Qinglian of creation of the world couldn't stop it for a few breaths, and the treasure disappeared one after another. Only Disc left. At this time, Pangu was still struggling to resist. He opened his eyes angrily, extremely unwilling. Since his birth, he has only one belief in his heart, that is to execute the will of chaos and complete his mission. He always thought he was the son of chaos. Opening up the world and creating creatures is the mission I want to perform. But now it fell short. Just when he woke up, this chaotic world had already been destroyed, and the power that should belong to him was about to be swallowed up. That's why he was so angry. But suddenly, as if he had received some information, his eyes froze. The next moment, he directly gave up resisting. I understand. There was a trace of sadness in his eyes. It turns out that my mission has never been to open up the world, but to fulfill you. He finally understands. This is his mission. However, there was not much hatred in his eyes, but a kind of pity, looking at Long Fei, who was still immersed in devouring. You will regret this. This was the last sentence he left behind, and in an instant his figure dissipated and turned into nothingness. The vast chaos has completely turned into nothingness so far, and Long Fei's figure also reappeared, and he was sent to recover from the incarnation of the black whole world. Capre with acute Delta 5. Sorry, Kumba. Long Fei's expression was indifferent. For some reason, when he heard the word regret again, the anger in his heart burst out uncontrollably. Kenshu, Zai with grave, everyone said they would regret it. But no one said a word to him. Why would he regret it? After a while, Long Fei suppressed the anger in his heart. After devouring the disc, my strength seems to be further improved. Although the system is no longer broadcasting, but I can feel that my strength is stronger. Long Fei thought to himself. The next moment, his heart moved, and a big axe appeared directly. It is the sky-opening axe. But this world is markedly different. You must know that the aura that Pan showed before he woke up was the unique state, the only existence born, and his accompanying sky-opening axe is naturally not bad. Even stronger than the weapons that Long Fei had controlled before. Now, this chaos no longer exists. Without the elements of heaven and earth, without the energy of chaos, it's like nothing. As long as I swipe lightly, I can open up the world. Long Fei's eyes flickered. In a few days, I finally came to this step. The next moment, he swung the axe in his hand. Boom! A cold light flickered between the sky and the earth in an instant. Immediately, the heavens and the earth opened up, the clear air rose, and the dirty air sank. However, because Long Fei had already devoured the elements of earth, fire, water, wind, heaven and earth, and even the spirit of chaos, the world he created was extremely unstable at this time, as if it would collapse at any time. Grass, do you want to spit out the power you swallowed before? Long Fei was stunned, but he didn't think about it, and with a movement of his body, he started to stand on his feet, dragging the sky up. At the same time, the elements of heaven and earth began to escape from his body. Soon, visible to the naked eye, the world finally stabilized as the elements of heaven and earth continued to surge. The sky and the earth are all presented. Long Fei also stopped at this time. There was a look of satisfaction in his eyes. Although some power was lost, he was fearless. The power that had been devoured already belonged to him and would not disappear, and it would naturally recover over time. It doesn't seem to be difficult to open the sky. Then it seems that the legend is not true. This kind of loss is not enough to destroy a unique existence. Suddenly, Long Fei began to think again. His plan is coherent, definitely not just Kaitian. Opening the sky is only the first step, and creation is his pursuit. This naturally connects him with the legend. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, countless dark thunders appeared above the open sky. It quickly pierced through the sky and landed in this newly opened world. Even the world began to fall apart, as if it was about to collapse. Long Fei's eyes sank, and he quickly thought of another point. The cause of the robbery. He sensed the power of Jia-in from the thunder. In an instant, a gleam appeared in his eyes. Open heaven tribulation. I understand that opening the sky is only the first step. To stabilize the sky and the earth, we must let the sky and the earth survive the disaster. So, I'm going to experience a catastrophe. Looking at the sky full of thunder, Long Fei thought in his heart. But before he could think about it, there was a sudden tremor under his feet, followed by cracks sprouting from the ground under his feet, and hot magma was mixed with it, flowing against the sky. When the sky is opened, it is destroyed. To open up the land is to destroy the land. This is the first calamity of opening the sky, destroying the sky, and destroying the earth. And Long Fei was in this catastrophe. This kind of power is very turbulent, making him feel uncomfortable at this moment. What a strange power of catastrophe. However, now that I am in this catastrophe, it seems easier for me to capture some information. The cause of this catastrophe is the opening of the sky www novel. Calm. Because of the opening up of the world, this catastrophe occurred. Long Fei analyzed. He had experienced the cause of the catastrophe twice in the depths of chaos and the land of gods and demons in the prehistoric world, and predicted the result of the catastrophe. So at this time, in this catastrophe, one can clearly perceive the cause and effect of this catastrophe, because it is the opening of the sky. The result is destruction. It seems that the fruit of any calamity is the same. It's all for destruction. But this time it won't work. My task has not been completed. It is really destroyed. How can I live? If it's really the apocalypse tribulation, I might still be afraid of it, but now it's an apocalypse tribulation. So you want to defeat me? Don't even think about it. The power of chaos. Replenish the world. The power of gods and demons. Guard the nothingness for me. Ferocity erupted from Long Fei's eyes, and in the next instant, infinite power erupted from him. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5778. Chapter 5778. Long Fei was fearless. At this time, he has absolute confidence in his own strength. Although it is said that this catastrophe contains the power to destroy the world, but he is already the only peak. Don't care at all. Boom, boom, boom. And with the power scattered around Long Fei, the violent air of chaos fills up the sky and covers up the sky tribulation thunder. The power of the gods and demons that had been swallowed turned into immortal power, turning into mountains, making up for the cracked earth. As for Long Fei, he stood in the midst of this catastrophe, as if he was invincible, forcibly overcoming the catastrophe of opening the sky. Boom, www. Novel. Come, la boom boom boom. But what Long Fei didn't expect was that the power of Kai Tianjia was still raging and violent. Even though his power smoothed the world, there was still power spreading out. Katsa, Katsa, countless thunderbolts fell on Long Fei. In an instant, Long Fei's flesh and blood turned out, and blood flowed constantly. But Long Fei didn't care at all. He stood still, stretched out his hand, turned into a palm print that covered the sky, directly penetrated nothingness, and crossed the sky. Soon, a void force-emitting thunder was caught in his hands. The power of Lei, that's all. Long Fei said lightly, and opened his mouth to swallow it directly. The body of a black hole swallows everything. Even if it is the tribulation thunder that opened the sky, he has the confidence to swallow it. It's just that this group of power slipped away from his fingers a little bit and disappeared. Long Fei didn't care. The fundamental power had already been swallowed by him, and the remaining point did not pose the slightest threat to this world. But at this moment, Long Fei's eyes were attracted by the scene in the distance. I saw that the moment he hit the ground, the flesh and blood that had been split apart by resisting the catastrophe unexpectedly appeared 3 shadows. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. At this moment, thousands of muddy horses galloped past Long Fei's heart. Those 3 shadows turned out to be a giant dragon, a unicorn, and a phoenix. But the appearance of these 3 creatures at this time is definitely not simple. Kappa with acute Delta 5. Net Long Fei contacted the ancestor Long Yuan Feng, Shi Qilin, in a single thought. He never thought that this kind of creature was born in his own hands. Suddenly, he felt a strange feeling. But what was wrong? He couldn't tell himself. But he couldn't help thinking about it. Although the source of thunder in nothingness has been swallowed by him, the apocalypse calamity is not over yet. The hot magma on the ground is still pouring the earth. With no expression on his face, Long Fei punched the ground. Suddenly, rumble, an abyss that cannot be captured by the naked eye appears in front of you. At the same time, cracks appeared on the ground, and the magma flowed into the abyss along the crack. After doing all this, Long Fei stopped for a while. However, he knew that the heaven-opening tribulation was not over yet. The heaven-opening tribulation won't end like this. Moreover, this world is too fragile and needs to be tempered. Long Fei thought in his heart, showing a helpless expression. It's like a monk crossing the catastrophe. Crossing the catastrophe is a kind of tribulation, but if you can survive it, it is also a kind of good luck. However, at this moment, Long Fei felt that he was too impulsive. But there is no way. The path I choose, I have to walk on my knees. Also at this moment, above the emptiness of heaven and earth, a mass of light suddenly descended. The day is like fire. In an instant, this newly opened world became transparent, as if no power could bear the light of the sudden sun. Long Fei stood up abruptly. No matter what, this piece of world still bears his own mission, so naturally he won't watch it collapse. The next moment, countless heaven and earth elements escaped from his body. How much has been swallowed? How much is released at this moment and returns to heaven and earth? But of course, even if he is released at this time, he will only be weak for a while, and his strength will also recover in the future. Time passed. I don't know how long it has passed. The world finally calmed down. The 4 elements of earth, fire, water, and wind permeate the space between heaven and earth. The world is finally stable. Above nothingness, that round of great sun hangs steadily above the sky. But the sky is still cracked, and the earth is still full of ravines. Abysses invisible to the naked eye also appeared, and under the scorching magma, many high mountains gushed out. So far, the embryonic form of heaven and earth has also been formed. Between the sky and the earth, Long Fei's figure lay flat on the ground. Even if he recovers his cultivation base, or even breaks through before, he still feels extremely painful to resist this catastrophe. But fortunately, opening heaven tribulation did not continue. It's just that Long Fei's face is full of strange expressions. Gone. He waited for a long time. He thought this was the beginning of the catastrophe, and there must be more violent power. It's just that I haven't seen any power come down after waiting for a long time. That's it. How powerful do I think it is? The thunder is loud, but the rain is light. Long Fei looked at the void and thought secretly. He thought that Tianqi Jia would definitely have unexpected power, but it stopped abruptly at this moment. But it's okay. I don't have much time left now. Long Fei was also extremely satisfied with the result. He has been in the land of chaos for several days. Of course, this concept still does not exist in this era. Long Fei recorded the time based on his own cognition. Furthermore, the system has not said that it has given any prompts so far, which proves that this mission is still going on. Concentrating his mind, Long Fei got up on this barren land. This era should be the true ancient times. It's just that there are so many gods and demons. Is it possible that I really want to create it myself? Long Fei pondered. It can be said that he is the only living being in this world at this moment, and his task is to ignite the fire of the human race among the gods and demons. That is to say, he does not even have the prerequisites to start the task, let alone complete the task. System, don't pretend to be dead. Don't talk about anything else. How should we continue with this mission now? Long Fei contacted the system. Doubt is doubt. WAP. K with Macron Nuis HMU5. Net, but at this stage, it still depends on the system. System. The system is unresponsive. Long Fei, it's boring for you to do this, the system. You gave me the task. Even if you want to be a second 5 boy, you have to wait for me to finish my task first. Long Fei said, with his knowledge of the system, behind every system downtime is just pretending to be dead. This time, there will certainly be no exceptions. Ding! The player status is detected, the system will automatically block, and all previous tasks will no longer be retained. And just as Long Fei's voice fell, the system's voice suddenly fell. But this time, it was different from before. Even if it was a system upgrade before, tasks will also be preserved. It may be a selective change, but the main task will be eliminated directly. But this time was different. The system seemed determined to part ways with Long Fei, directly denying all tasks. Long Fei's face changed, and the system's response made him feel abrupt. Eyes narrowed. You sure? There was also a chill in his voice. Ever since the system showed its will against him several times, and even threatened him to send the winner back, he already had an opinion in his heart. Now, this answer is even more equivalent to saying that he wants to completely cut off with Long Fei. After endless coma, sure, you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure, you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu. The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arms stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 57, 79. Chapter 57, 79. This answer surprised Long Fei. He didn't think about it. He thinks that even if it is broken now, the system will most likely play dead. But at this time the system fell silent again. It seems to be caught in a dilemma, a state of war between heaven and man. Long Fei also fell silent. Suddenly, countless pictures from the past appeared in my mind. Ding! Congratulations to the player for awakening the strongest upgrade system. Ding! Congratulations to the player for beheading. Countless familiar voices hovered in my ears. Omega Mega W. Ah, net, but at this moment, the voice was extremely ironic to Long Fei. He never thought that the system would betray him one day. Very chilling. And the silence of the system at this time seems to be another answer. Ding! The location of the previous mission target. The player will mark it to the player. The task of returning to the ancient times is cancelled, and players can return to the prehistoric era. At this moment, the system's sound appeared again. This is like the last gift to Long Fei. In an instant, a coordinate called the place where the stars fell appeared in Long Fei's mind. But the moment he saw this coordinate, Long Fei's childish whole suddenly shrank. This location, it was the prehistoric world he lived in. System, what does this mean? Why did the place where the stars fell turned into a prehistoric world? Long Fei's eyes were full of doubts. If the prehistoric world is the place where the stars fall, then why didn't you remind me before? Tushan Xiaoya's breath. However, the system has no response. Even at the moment when Long Fei's voice fell, there was a crackling sound in his body. Katsa, he felt dizzy. It was as if something had pulled away from his body and disappeared. Pain. Suddenly, Long Fei felt a sharp pain in his heart. This feeling is indescribable. It is even more worrying than watching his brother transform into Tianzhu back then, which made him unable to restrain his sadness. With a sore nose, Long Fei felt a hot air in his eyes. But he was forced to go down. Long Fei, was going to be strong all his life, so how could he be sad for a 25-year-old kid? But he knew that the system really left him this time. At the same time, the prehistoric world. At this moment in Zixiao Palace, Dahai, Hongjun, and the others all looked solemn. But suddenly, the world trembled. Everyone's eyes moved, and they vaguely felt that there had been some kind of change in the world. Boom. But before they expressed their emotions, the Zixiao Palace in front of them suddenly began to collapse, falling apart, and cracks appeared one after another, as if it would collapse in the next moment. It was also the first time that an accident appeared in Dahai's eyes. It's as if something is out of control. What's going on? What's going on? He changed the past? No. At this moment, Hong Juan's figure gradually became illusory in front of everyone's eyes, as if he had become a rootless duckweed and was about to disappear. He finally took this step. Dahai said in a deep voice, but at this time, another person in the same space had a look of interest in his eyes. It's really unexpected that what's behind it is so interesting. Then I don't understand. Since I already knew the result in my heart, why did I go to great lengths to train Long Fei? Long Batian didn't care about Hong Jun. How about it? Even if the world collapses, he won't be moved in the slightest www. Novel. Come, the only thing he was interested in was Long Fei, because it's irreversible. Throughout the ages, the apocalypse tribulation happened not once. No one can reverse it, and neither can I, Dahai said. Irreversible. I want to try. If Long Fei dies, will this apocalypse tribulation still happen? Long Batian's eyes showed killing intent. This killing intent is real. It doesn't look like a joke at all. In the past, he did give up his own ideas, and was not going to continue to target Long Fei. After all, with Dahai here, Dahai would not allow him to attack Long Fei. Moreover, the apocalypse is coming. Although he is not a saint, he is compassionate. But I don't want this piece of the world to really be destroyed in a catastrophe. After all, if the world is really destroyed, there will be only one person in the world, which would be too boring. But too many things have happened recently, especially when he learned of what was hidden behind Long Fei. He no longer suppressed it, and his killing intent erupted instantly. You don't have that ability. However, Dahai just glanced at him lightly, and then said, Long Batian, are you thinking too highly of Long Fei? Don't forget that the core of my unique state is the power of time and space. If I am in the era where Long Fei is now, it is not impossible to kill him. If he dies in time and space on the other side, then there will naturally be no more him in this world. Long Batian responded, he does not believe in evil. He didn't believe that they were both in the same realm, and they were all cultivated by Dahai using means. There really is such a big gap between him and Long Fei. You can try it. I won't stop you. Dahai said. Long Batian pondered slightly, but at this moment, the changes in the world finally disappeared. Even Hong Jun, who was about to disappear before, reappeared in front of the two of them. Hong Juan's face was full of fear. Even if he is the patriarch of the Tao of Heaven, he is a party of the Tao of Heaven, he still feels terrifying at this time. WAP. K with Macron Nuis H mu 5. Net the power that appeared just now was irreversible, with an aura of absolute destruction, as if to cross time and space to obliterate him. Moreover, it is so overbearing that it cannot be resisted, and it will be absolutely destroyed. You can't do it. Long Fei is too terrifying at this time. He panted heavily. You know, Baroness, you know what terror is. Long Batian said disdainfully, it's fine if Dahai looks down on him. A little Tian Dao even dared to deny him. Why should he? Hong Juan's face was not good-looking, but he did not refute. He knew that in front of Long Batian, his way of heaven was vain. Even if Long Batian thinks his own way of heaven may really be destroyed. But he pondered for a moment and still said, just before I disappeared, I saw him. He devoured everything and created this world. It can be said that he is already invincible in this world, and he is equivalent to the absolute ruler. Even if he returns, he is still the master of this world. No, it should be said that he is the master of the Tao. Hong Jun said solemnly, the way of heaven and the great way are two concepts. Simply put, the way of heaven seems to be a rule, but the Tao is the existence that formulates the rules of the Tao of heaven. And Long Fei was such an existence at this time. Long Batian pondered slightly, but then a more intense light appeared in his eyes. The same inexplicable excitement. The Lord of heaven and earth, the Lord of the great Tao. Sounds pretty good. Since this is the case, I have to try to see if I can kill him. Long Batian said coldly. He was also an invincible overlord. Nature also has its own pride. The next moment, he waved his hand casually, and a passage suddenly appeared in front of him. At the same time, he glanced at the sky. Everyone, come out. Go get someone with me, kill them, and the transaction between us will be completely over. Long Batian said. Immediately afterwards, dozens of figures suddenly appeared in front of them. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to read the latest chapters, please download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapters for free without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room, and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5780. Chapter 5780, the aura of these figures, is also extremely terrifying. Each of them has an aura that is not inferior to Hongjun. www.kahu5.net. In other words, they are all strong in the unique realm. Long Batian, why are you looking for us again? Said one of them. But soon his eyes fell on Hai. As soon as Tong Kong received it, the aloofness on his face disappeared, and the dignity of being a strong man in the unique realm also dissipated. I have met you, my lord. The change in expression at this moment is enough to show the respect he has for the sea in his heart. Dahai looked calm, as if he didn't care about everything, and nodded lightly. And the dozens of people behind this person also locked their eyes on Dahai at this time. Everyone lowered their heads. It seems to be very familiar with the sea. You do your own thing. Don't pay attention to me. Dahai said. Everyone nodded. Long Bation's expression changed slightly at this time. He ignored everyone's gaze, but set his eyes on Hai. As far as I know, you have never been in the place of origin. Why do they respect you so much? Long Batian asked, with a puzzled look on his face. He thought that with his strength, there were no secrets in the heavens. But now it seems that he is too wishful thinking. He still has too many unknowns. I don't want to explain some things. I can only say that nothing has changed. Desolation and helplessness appeared in Dahai's eyes. It's as if he made a lot of effort, but in the end he returned without success. Long Bation's eyes also became serious. This was the first time he saw such emotions in the sea. The strength of the sea has reached an unparalleled level, and there is no way to describe it. At least for him, he absolutely admires it. There was never even the thought of competing with the sea. Can it be changed? If I kill Long Fei, does it count as a change? Long Batian asked back. Forget it. But unfortunately, you can't do it. The sea was still calm. Then wait and see. Long Batian said. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and then he looked at the dozens of figures in front of him. Call someone, concentrate the power of the entire place of origin, and follow me to kill Long Fei. After that, I will put the power of the first generation system to the core of the place of origin. Long Batian said. The eyes of dozens of people in front of them suddenly changed. Originally, they were dissatisfied with Long Bation's call, but when they heard his words, their eyes became extremely sharp, and they even showed strong desire. Is this true? Someone asked, looking at Long Batian solemnly. Of course it's true. This power has long been useless to me. Without systematic power, I'm still invincible. Besides, in a sense, you are still my father-in-law. We can say that, family. How could I deceive you? Long Batian said. A cold light flickered in everyone's eyes, as if they were irritated by Long Bation's words. But soon, they still endured it. In comparison, this stimulus is nothing compared to what Long Batian promised. Okay, as long as you keep your word, then do it, said one of them, the one from the beginning. After speaking, there was a little emptiness in his hand. A blazing white light suddenly exploded above the void. That ray of light is like an eternity. It can traverse thousands of miles of the galaxy, and with an unfailing brilliance, it rushes into the depths of nothingness. I have already summoned all the existences of the unique realm in the land of origin. As long as they come here, plus you, as long as the Long Fei you are talking about is not in existence like this lord, he will definitely die. The man said. Long Batian nodded. This is the answer he wanted. As for the sea, he just looked at it calmly at this moment, without saying a word. And Hong Jun, at this time, became a prop man. He exists to witness these people in front of him. This time, I won't let you down. Long Batian looked at the sea with murderous intent in his eyes. It seems that this is his obsession, just to prove in front of the sea that he is the strongest one. The sea was silent, but it did not stop Long Batian. Soon, one after another figure suddenly broke through the air. Moreover, they all came in real bodies. The man recounted the conversation between himself and Long Batian. Go ahead, what are you waiting for? If you kill Long Fei, my place of origin will reach the peak. Maybe I can research the power to curb the apocalypse. That's right. Moreover, I have never done this kind of thing to travel through time and space to kill people. I naturally want to try it. Long Batian, let's start. Even Wei Jing couldn't keep calm at this time. All of them had fiery eyes, and locked their eyes on Long Batian. Walk. Long Batian had been waiting for a long time, seeing everyone's emotions at this time. He smiled at the corner of his mouth and rushed into the time channel without any hesitation. Then 100 figures jumped into it one after another. Soon, all the figures in the field disappeared, leaving only Hongjun and Dahai. Can they succeed? Hongjun asked. Hai shook his head. I don't know. Hongjun asked tentatively, but soon he gave a wry smile. How could one not know about the existence of the sea? The only possibility is that it is impossible to succeed. It's still the same sentence. Nothing can be reversed, nothing can be changed. Dahai said with a little deep meaning. In the next moment, his footsteps moved www. Novel. Come labum. Ripples fluctuated in the nothingness in front of him, and a space-time channel appeared. Hongjun's eyes were shocked. Long Baishan's methods are already invincible, but he didn't expect the sea to be more terrifying. It is also a space-time tunnel, but he can feel that the power of the sea seems to be above time and space at this time, and even time and space are just playthings in his palm. He could even collapse space-time if he wanted to. My lord, you also want to go back to the beginning of the world in order to kill that Long Fei. He dare not guess. Scared to the extent of the sea, if he wanted to kill Long Fei, would there be any hope of Long Fei surviving? Dahai paused at this moment. No, I'm here to collect something and create something. As Dahai said, his figure slowly disappeared, and the ripples in the nothingness also disappeared. Chaotic world. After creating the world, Long Fei didn't move anymore. At this time, he was like a rock, sluggishly standing in place. He did not return to the prehistoric era. The disappearance of the system upset him. It had been a long time since there was an existence that could affect Long Fei's mood like this. In a sense, the system was his first brother who went through life and death, but he didn't expect that it would end up like this. Saw it. It was as if a corner was missing from my life. It's hard to describe the feeling. Disappointment. The last emotion expressed by the system is disappointment. Is he disappointed in me? So he gave up everything? Long Fei thought to himself. At this time, his mind was complicated and chaotic. The disappearance of the system did not affect his strength, and even gave him a feeling of a wild horse running wild, as if after today he could unscrupulously display his power. However, he always felt that he seemed to be missing something, and this feeling was uncomfortable. But at this moment, there was a sudden flash of brilliance in the nothingness, and fluctuations appeared. Long Fei raised his head abruptly. Tong Kong shrank. Time and space tunnel. After endless coma, Sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Sure Yu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Sure Yu quickly swept his gaze across the room, and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Sure Yu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, sure you also found 3 books beside it. Sure you picked it up and took a look? The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure you. The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Sure Yu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5781. Chapter 5780. One long phase, eyes turned cold. The appearance of the space-time channel made him feel a sense of crisis. At his level, he is extremely sensitive to certain crises. At this moment, he already figured it out in his heart. This is someone passing through the space-time tunnel, trying to travel through time and space to kill him. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of him. That is Long Batian. When he was in Longting before, Long Batian used this kind of power. So now there is, and only this possibility. As expected, the moment his mind just fell, a figure walked out from the space-time tunnel. It was Long Batian. Long Batian, you still have a wicked heart, so you want to compete with me so much? Long Fei asked. He was already upset in his heart, and seeing Long Batian appearing at this time was even more upset. He thought that Long Batian had given up, not to mention the relationship between the sea, but as far as the relationship between the 2 of them was concerned, he felt that the things in the past could be let go. But I didn't expect Long Batian to be so ruthless. Even if he traveled through time and space, he wanted to kill himself. I did give up, but unfortunately, you are no longer who you used to be. Long Batian said, Is your head showing off? Am I not me? Who am I? My tender father? Long Fei laughed back angrily. What a joke. This argument is too ridiculous. He naturally knows in his heart whether he has changed from before. The authorities are obsessed. If I didn't know something, I wouldn't bother to pay attention to what happened back then. After all, you and I were brought out by the sea. To a certain extent, I am your senior brother. But it's a pity that many things will have a perfect answer after you die. Long Batian said coldly, Brother, you're paralyzed. I'm dead. What if I die, even if this world is infinitely beautiful? Without my existence, this world is meaningless to me. Long Fei's eyes were full of anger. Long Batian's words made him very upset. There is a perfect answer to what it means to be dead. Why? Some things I can't tell you for some reason, but that's the truth. So, you are going to die. Long Batian continued. Long Fei sneered. Hee, if it's true as you said, then I don't mind ending everything with my own hands. After finishing speaking, he turned his gaze. Let the people inside come out. I want to see what kind of power you have prepared to kill me. Long Fei said. The next moment, figures came out from the space-time passage. The 100-person team just appeared in front of Long Fei. Long Fei shrunk, with murderous intent raging in his heart. 100 unique. This battle was to punish himself to death, and he never thought of giving himself a way out. It seems that you are determined to keep me here. Long Fei said coldly. Beg for mercy? Admit. Impossible. He hadn't done this kind of thing back then, and he wouldn't do it today either. Yes, it's good for everyone if you die, so why don't you die? Long Batian remained expressionless. After finishing speaking, he turned his eyes and looked behind him. Everyone, let's take action. As long as he is dead, I will definitely do what I promised you. As soon as the voice fell, his figure suddenly disappeared. Immediately afterwards, he reappeared, already in front of Long Fei. At the same time, he punched out. Long Fei had no expression on his face, as if he had already expected that the moment the punch landed, he would strike with a bang. Also merciless. This punch was the power given by the system after he broke through to the only realm, the only punch. But Long Fei had never used this power. It is so powerful that one punch is enough to collapse the world. But at this time, he didn't hesitate. Before life and death, there was nothing to consider, let alone the collapse of the world. Even if the universe was destroyed, he would still fight. He never gives up. Life and death are indifferent. If you don't accept it, you will do it. Even if there are 100 uniques, he is not afraid. Rumble. The power of the two collided, and the violent power destroyed the world. The world that had just stabilized showed signs of collapse at this moment. The sky split open, and countless lights and shadows fell down. A sky fire descended from the sky, carrying the aura of destroying everything, scorching the entire land. And the figures of Long Fei and Long Batian also touch points. Each retreated hundreds of feet. But Long Batian's face was full of shock at this time. Just one punch at this time made him feel the strength of Long Fei. That kind of power overwhelmed the heavens, and the earth, absolutely berserk, seemed to have surpassed the heavens, and no power could stop it. Long Fei was expressionless. Long Batian was shocked by his strength. He was also shocked by the power of Long Batian. With one punch, he had a preliminary understanding of Long Batian's power. Long Fei, I didn't expect that you have reached this level now. Compared with the last time we met, your strength has improved a lot. Long Batian said, leisurely, with a dignified expression on his face. Long Fei didn't take it seriously and said lightly, "It's you. I'm a little disappointed. I thought you would surprise me by taking this step earlier than me, but the result is nothing more than that." Long Fei said lightly, "Dragon Batian is very strong. Even if you face such a force before breaking through, you may be suppressed. But at this moment, no, to Long Fei, this kind of power was only very strong, that's all." In an instant, Long Fei looked at the people behind Long Batian. The corner of his mouth twitched. The only thing is not being invincible, no matter how many people there are. It's useless. I don't know what condition Long Batian gave you, so that you can kill me without hesitation across time and space. But unfortunately, this place will be your place of burial. Land, Long Fei said coldly, with boundless killing intent. Omega Omega W. Netu W. Kahu 5. Net he will not show mercy to the enemy, whether it is Long Batian or these people. If he dares to kill him, he will be completely destroyed. What are you waiting for? Shoot directly. The only thing is not invincible, but he is not invincible either. Long Batian shouted. The next moment, his figure moved again, and with his attack this time, the space-time of the world began to fission, and the space-time in front of him began to distort. WWW. Novel. Come, at this moment, he mobilized the power of time and space. Long Fei's expression sank. He sensed the power in front of him. Time and space distortion? His eyes were slightly serious. At this moment, he could clearly perceive a breath of destruction. This is the power after time and space are distorted, as if countless time and space are mixed together. And the riot has the meaning of collapse that wipes out all living beings. It is no exaggeration to say that if one is coerced by this force, the distorted space-time force can crush a person. Even the unique environment will not be spared. Is this the power of your unique realm? It's very strong. If it was before I came here, I might be in trouble. Long Fei looked at the time and space ripples in front of him and said leisurely. In the next instant, his body began to change. The flesh and blood directly turned into a black hole, like a Jedi flooding the galaxy. The terrifying power of devouring also emanates from it. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory? Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5782. Chapter 5782. At this moment, Long Fei's body seemed to sink into nothingness. Even though the tearing power of space-time distortion in the heaven and earth was still spreading, it did not affect Long Fei's transformation in the slightest. Capway with acute Delta 5. Net with one move, he turned into a black hole. Of course, this is only the initial state. And as Long Fei turned into a black hole, there was a complete riot in front of my eyes. There was a look of astonishment in the eyes of countless people. Even if they are the masters of the place where they originated, even if they have long been immortal, they have long been the only ones in this era. But seeing the aura displayed by Long Fei at this moment, he still couldn't calm down. Black hole. How is it possible that he can turn into a black hole? This is the incomprehensible power in the universe. Even if I wait in it, I can't come out unharmed. How can he have such power? Incarnation of a black hole, he possesses such terrifying power. The only powerful people who came to the place of origin were shocked. Stronger than them, they are all silent at this moment, with a dignified expression. They are all in the unique realm, and they also know that when they reach this realm, they will control a unique power like the Tao. Under this power, all the rules are in their hands, and they can gallop freely and unrivaled. But this power is not invincible. As Long Fei said, the only realm is not invincible. For example, between them, The control power is different, and there is also a big gap in strength. This is why they have nothing to do with Long Batian. But at this time, Long Fei made them fear even more. They saw in this battle that even the mighty Long Batian was defeated, and there was nothing he could do under Long Fei's hands. Although there is no winner yet, but at this time Long Fei turned into a black hole. The result can be imagined. This is your power, black hole? Long Batian stopped attacking, and the ripples in the void gradually disappeared. He obviously knows the horror of black hole power. What? Cowardly? Long Fei asked back. The corner of the mouth also smiled lightly. This black hole power may seem terrifying, but it is not his only power. His power is too diverse, including the only means given by the system, and all kinds of power obtained in the only burial place. But there is no power that really belongs to him. Admit it? Have you ever seen me counseled? The only thing that is not invincible is that the black hole is not extinguished. What I dislike most is your arrogant appearance. Long Batian said bitterly, then try. Long Fei responded, too lazy to talk nonsense. Things have come to this point. There is no possibility of good. This battle is no longer about deciding who is superior, but about life and death. This time, only one of them can live. In the next moment, Long Fei's figure took a sudden step and turned into a black hole, and the terrifying devouring power naturally erupted accordingly. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the time and space distorted by Long Batian collapsed instantly. It seemed that he had no power to resist Long Fei's coercion. From the black hole, Long Ba's expression changed. He turned around and looked at the crowd. Aren't you going to make a move yet? At this time, he also knew that facing Long Fei, his own strength, was simply not enough. And for a unique existence, if you want to kill it, it is definitely not something that one person can do. Unless it's the sea. That's why he let so many people shoot at the same time. In an instant, the figures of the crowd changed, dispersed the world, and surrounded Long Fei. They knew that at this time, they couldn't have any selfishness, let alone underestimate them. Long Fei is too strong. The power of this black hole made them also have a life and death crisis. At this time, you can only work hard. Otherwise, the result will be unimaginable, and you may even stay here. And from Long Fei's attitude, it can be seen that this is a decisive master of killing. Either he dies, or they die. In an instant, everyone exuded an aura that stretched across the sky, like hundreds of great roads shining brightly in space. Rumble, rumble. At this moment, the whole world began to collapse again, reaching an irreparable state. Long Fei's eyes became even more severe in an instant. A ferocious look appeared in his eyes. Do you dare to destroy the world I created? Then use your strength to fill it up. Long Fei said lightly, and then grabbed it casually. Boom! The power of the black hole unfolds. The power of devouring spreads. Boom, boom, boom. The void also began to explode, and the duel between the two sides officially opened at this moment. The river of time and space. At this time, Long Batian made another move. He shouted loudly, and then pulled out the long river of time and space. Crash! The turbulent waves beat the sky, and isolated Long Fei on the other side of the long river. And at this moment, Long Fei, who was outside the long river, had undergone earth-shaking changes in an instant. As if strangled by the power of time, it acted on him at a speed visible to the naked eye. Between breaths, Long Fei became an old man. Qingxi turned into Huafa. The skin also became wrinkled, and the blood was dry, as if he would die at any moment. This change caused joy to appear in the eyes of everyone above the void. At the same time, he also took a higher look at Long Batian and the void, and robbed it Vertically, Long Bashan's power of time and space is the power to cross the void, an irreversible existence, even if it is the only realm, even if it is truly immortal. It is useless in front of this kind of power. Kenshu, Zai with grave, they can clearly perceive the horror in it. In other words, Long Fei, who was extremely tyrannical, walked farther than them on the only road. If it were them, they might have died under this power. Long Batian is also extremely terrifying. The power of time and space can suppress the only immortal. Even the only one has a time limit, and will die. Yes, I hope to kill Long Fei. He can't live, time and space, without the only attribute. Everyone will die. Several voices appeared. Omega W. Net at this time. They were shocked and expectant. They both lamented the mystery of Long Bashan's power, and hoped that this power could kill Long Fei, so that they would be able to retreat without making a move. But at this time Long Fei was still calm. He watched the years leave marks on his body. Even at this moment, he could feel that time, space and time had come to an end on him. To the end of the void. It seems that you really want me to die. Outsiders just lamented the horror of the Dragon Bashan's power, but only Long Fei could clearly feel the true strength of this power. Time and space exist forever, and he, who is on the other side of the long river of time and space, has experienced the changes of the ages in this instant. A moment in a long river, a wave is 1,000,000 years. And in this moment, tens of millions of time and space waves have left marks on his body. In other words, the tens of millions of years he has experienced. He is also the only one who can survive in this situation. He raised his head slowly, his eyes met Long Bashan's. At this time, Long Batian was not feeling well. Exercising this kind of power cost him a lot of money, even using his original source. Long Fei, you are indeed stronger than me. Even my strongest means can't take you away. Long Batian said in a deep voice. His eyes were gloomy, with a kind of helplessness. This is his lore power, and he even has the confidence to use this power to kill any unique one. Kulong Fei is an exception. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room, and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Sure Yu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the third book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, pet breeding base, trainee pet keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5783. Chapter 5783. He has used the power of time and space to the extreme. If Long Fei couldn't bear it, he would die naturally if he died. But if Long Fei can carry it, it will prove his strength, and there is nothing he can do about it. And at the moment he expresses such emotion, it also proves that he has given up. You are also very strong, but unfortunately I am stronger. Long Fei said calmly. Although Long Batian had given in, Long Fei would not be moved by this. Especially after Long Batian exerted this power, there was no second result. He had to die. Since I'm stronger than you, then you just wait to die. Today's chaotic world is your burial place. No one can stop you from coming, as I said. Long Fei's killing intent was as firm as a rock. On the other side, as Long Fei's voice fell, their expressions became more complicated. WAP. K with Macron Nuas HMU5. Net, Long Batian, what do you mean? Did you just give up? Your strength hasn't dissipated yet. He is on the verge of death. As long as you persist for a while, you will definitely kill him. Dragon Batian. Countless voices appeared. The conversation between the two made them uneasy. Even the terrifying power of Long Batian can't kill Long Fei. So with their strength, is it possible? So, at this moment, they all panicked. Long Fei ignored them and just glanced at them indifferently. Break. The next moment, he opened his mouth slowly. Boom. And as his voice fell, the long river of time and space suddenly shattered. Long Batian's figure also flew out instantly. Long Fei's body also began to recover. In an instant, the dying state of his body disappeared without a trace, and his blood energy recovered, surging through the heavens and the earth like a vast galaxy. His black hole body is still there, the power of devouring diffused again. Brush. In the next moment, his figure flickered, and he suddenly came to Long Batian. Is there anything else you want to say? Long Fei said calmly, extremely indifferent. Since Long Batian can't kill him, now is the time for Long Batian to die. There's nothing to say. It's just that you are very pitiful. Long Batian said calmly. Long Fei Tong Kong shrank. Pitiful? When you are about to die, you still have the heart to call me pitiful. What a joke. Long Fei snorted coldly. Oh, one day you will understand what I mean. Then you will know what despair is. You can't live, you can't die. Long Batian said coldly. Long Fei's eyes changed. What do you mean? He asked back. Long Batian's words really touched Long Fei. This voice is exactly the same as the emotions shown by the Chaos Spirit and the system before. They said they would regret it, and Long Batian said he was pitiful. This attitude instantly aroused Long Fei's emotions, restlessness, and displeasure. Oh. Long Batian sneered, without any response. If you don't say it, you will die. Long Fei said. At this moment, he felt that his emotions were on the verge of explosion. As soon as he raised his hand, a long sword appeared in his hand. Immediately, the sword broke through the void and landed directly on Long Batian's neck. Brush. In an instant, the faces of the people above the void changed. No one doubted Long Fei's power. If Long Fei is willing, under this sword, Long Batian will also die, because this sword also has the power to restrain the only immortal among the methods Long Batian used before. W. Alfaro. Xwo. Net, in other words, under this sword, They will also be in danger of life and death. For a moment, no one dared to speak. Even at this moment, they didn't have the courage to face Long Fei directly, let alone kill Long Fei. On the contrary, what they are thinking about now is how to escape from Long Fei's hands. But they dare not move. Moreover, now that Long Baishan's power has disappeared, and the space-time tunnel has also disappeared, it means that what awaits them at this time will be the massacre of Long Fei. For a moment, they looked at each other. No one wants to die, especially after they became the only realm they escaped from life and death. But now, Long Fei's power already has the power to dominate their life and death. Silenced like a cicada, Long Fei didn't bother to pay attention to them now. Long Fei only had Long Batian in his eyes. No one can save you. You are my lifelong enemy. Tell me what you have discovered. I will give you a decent way to die. Long Fei said, "You won't know. As for how to die, do I care? You're going to die anyway. You can do whatever you want." Long Batian was still arrogant, and he didn't change his habits until he died. www.kaho5.net. I'll help you. Long Fei's voice turned cold, too lazy to bother. In an instant, the long sword in his hand moved. Brush. There was a flash of cold light. Long Fei's long sword directly pierced Long Baishan's neck. The lifelong enemy is going offline at this moment. Long Fei's expression was indifferent, without any emotional fluctuations. In an instant, he turned his eyes and looked at the people above the void. The power of these people is still surging, but he kept his own way and dared not step forward, let alone attack Long Fei. It's up to you. The loss of this world can just be made up for with your strength. Long Fei's killing intent went berserk. Long Batian didn't even have any worries, and he didn't even care about these people in front of him. Brush. Long Fei swung his sword across the sky. Puff. A figure suddenly collapsed, and his power also scattered around the world as Long Fei's sword fell, and merged into the world that was about to collapse. But this is just the beginning. This sword also represented the beginning of the massacre. Even if it is the only realm, it won't work. It must be the soul of his sword. Whoosh whoosh. Long Fei was ruthless in killing and invincible in horizontal pushing. His emotions had reached an explosive state, and under the impact of hostility, he had no fear and only wanted to kill. No. Why is this happening? Is this someone who traveled back to die? Voices burst out with unwillingness. This result is completely different from what they thought. They never thought it would be such a result. They thought that with their camp, it would be easy to kill the only one, but they didn't expect that the entire army would be wiped out soon. But unfortunately, even at this time, it is useless for them to regret. Long Fei will not be diverted by their will at all. The sword moves the world. The only sword that truly shows the only characteristic at this time can overwhelm everything, even if it is the only existence. It is also death. Puff, puff. Blood poured down like heavy rain, filled the world, and the stench of the wind blew, making the world strange. However, the blood of these people sank directly into the ground and disappeared. But Long Fei didn't care. He only had one belief in his eyes at this moment, to destroy everything. As time passed, the figures in the world gradually disappeared, leaving only Long Fei. Long Fei seemed to be numb, and the cold killing intent ravaged his body. And the power of these people returned to this world with their deaths. The world is also becoming more and more stable, even much stronger than before. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Sure Yu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Sure Yu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Sure Yu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but of fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Sure Yu also found 3 books beside it. Sure Yu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure Yu? The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Sure Yu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5784. Chapter 5784. Such a world is a world. It is impenetrable and indestructible. Moreover, not to mention anything else, the fact that this world can carry the only power to destroy is an unusual thing in itself. Coupled with the fusion of hundreds of unique forces now, it will directly rise to the next level. System, you have killed so many, don't pretend. A moment later, Long Fei retracted his sword and said suddenly, but as soon as the words fell, Long Fei fell into deep thought. His mind was in turmoil. This is a subtle habit in memory. Unfortunately, the system has really disappeared. Without the system, I am equally invincible. Although their strength is strong, I am stronger. Long Fei comforted himself. Immediately, he fell into silence. Meditate in my mind. Many things are unpredictable. The logic doesn't make sense either. When he first entered this world, he knew that the power of this era cannot be changed. But too much is happening right now. The system disappears, and the mission is canceled. Now he doesn't know if the world will change if he goes back. He looked into the distance, with the blue sky on his back, independent from the world. At this moment, a deep sense of loneliness emerged in my heart. He never felt this way. It can only be said that the departure of the system made Long Fei feel at a loss. Moreover, he knew that this time the system really disappeared and ceased to exist. What did they find? And the appearance of Long Batian, does it have anything to do with the sea? Does Dahai know what Long Batian said? Omega Omega W. Net Long Fei fell into deep thought, frowning tightly. At this moment, he felt abandoned. It is clear that everyone formed a group to stop the apocalypse robbery. So why did he betray his relatives while walking? Long Fei felt the fire in his heart, and he had a feeling that he really wanted to find the sea, find out everything, and see what happened at the end. Suddenly, at this moment, a voice suddenly appeared in his ears. The killing is really clean. Long Fei's eyes were fixed. Turn around abruptly. I saw a figure appearing in front of me, but outside of this figure, there is an inexplicable force that surrounds him, which cannot be seen through at all. Even Long Fei couldn't see the opponent's face. But inexplicably, a name emerged in Long Fei's mind. The sea. He called out the name of the sea. This is an extremely intuitive feeling, and he also believes that there is nothing wrong with it. The person in front of him is definitely the sea, although the other party used means to cover himself up, but with this means, the only thing that can evade his perception without sound and sound must be the sea. But the person in front of him was silent. It's a little unexpected. Even I didn't expect that this land of chaos would bring you such an opportunity. The man said. He neither admitted nor denied it. Long Fei's eyes were calm, but there was resentment in the calm. What, are you here to kill me? Or to reprimand me? Long Fei asked back. If it's the former, it's considered death, and he has to do it. If it's the latter, he's too lazy to say more. Since Long Batian has brought people to tease him, wouldn't it be more reasonable to kill them? Neither. The man shook his head. In an instant, he crossed his hands, slightly together. In an instant, the flow of light between the heaven and the earth turned hundreds of times. It turned out to be the souls of those people that Long Fei had beheaded before. Long Fei was stunned. They are all gone. How can they gather their spirits? There was a sense of solemnity in his eyes. This person's methods were too weird. Whether it was the sea or not, he could be sure that his strength was definitely above his own. I will take them away, and, as a price, I can perfect this world for you. The man continued. After finishing speaking, without waiting for Long Fei to respond, he waved his hands as if stroking the world. Clatter! Visible to the naked eye, a 10,000 zhang golden light emerges between the sky and the earth. The already extremely stable world seemed to be revived at this moment. Right, it's just revitalizing. Originally, this world has only just been opened up, and everything has not had time to be defined. Later, after this great battle, the whole world seemed to have become a place of death. WAP. K with Macron USH Mu 5. WWW. Novel. Come, la, but now. It came alive in the hands of this person. Beheading hundreds of uniques, their power seems to be completely integrated into the world, fused into some kind of rules, making the world work. It's like redefining. For a clock day and night flickered before Long Fei's eyes, the scorching heat and severe cold. The rules of heaven and earth are perfected at once. Not only that, Long Fei also vaguely saw the depths of this world. There are giant dragons roaring, unicorns stepping on the sky, and phoenixes burning in the sky. Also, the power of the chaos demon god that he devoured, which dissipated during the catastrophe, also dissipated outside the world at this time, forming a desperate land. Of course, there is also the power of chaos. Long Fei. The more I look at it, the more shocked I am. These two places were also created because of me. Long Fei frowned tightly. It was so shocking that he wouldn't believe it if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. I thought I had changed the world, but I didn't expect that the current development is the right way. Gradually withdrawing his gaze, Long Fei was ready to ask clearly. The person in front of him is too powerful, unbelievably powerful, and the power he controls is unprecedented. Although his current cultivation base and strength are extremely terrifying compared with the person in front of him, he is nothing compared to the insignificant. But the moment he looked away, he saw something that made him more silent, a hollow willow, and in the body of the willow there is also a cricket supporting life. When this scene appeared, Long Fei was basically determined. He hasn't changed anything. Everything that should have appeared has already appeared. Where are your beads? At this moment, the man spoke again. Without any doubt, Long Fei directly took out the previous bead from the system space. Although the system disappeared, this space was left for Long Fei. The moment Long Fei took out the bead, a brilliance suddenly appeared on the surface of the bead, and scenes of the cultivation of human civilization emerged in it. Long Fei Tong Kong shrank. Never expected that the power of humanity contained in this bead came from this way. Without saying a word, he stared blankly at the person in front of him. If this person is really the sea, why would he spare no effort to help himself? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be so. I condense human civilization, but in order to deal with them, to face the competition in the prehistoric world. No matter how you look at it, the sea has no reason to help itself. At this moment, doubts arose in his heart. Is the person in front of me really the sea? Moreover, the person in front of him seemed to be very clear about his purpose. Everything he did at this time seemed to be maintaining the original law of development of the world. This made Long Fei not understand. But during this thought, the man also ended his actions. He looked at Long Fei. Don't think too much. Everything is established and difficult to change. Including what I did, it was just to maintain the law. The voice appeared again, speaking inexplicable words. After endless coma, you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory? Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, you quickly swept his gaze across the room, and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast, Girls, Shiryu. The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a sharp pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5785. Chapter 5785. Long Fei's face was difficult to calm down. Dahai, what is your purpose for doing this? Also, we are already so familiar, so there is no need to do such a thing? Long Fei said. He is probing. He wasn't sure if the person in front of him was the sea. It can only be said that his methods are too mysterious. Even Long Fei can't see through them. No need to try. Go. This bead will guide you and do what you should do. As the man said, he handed the bead to Long Fei, and in an instant, his figure turned into a beam of light and disappeared. Come and go without a trace. Long Fei couldn't even capture the opponent's trajectory, and couldn't deduce where the opponent came from. Slight sigh. Immediately, Long Fei looked at the beads in his hand. Therein lies a complete, humane civilization. From Nuwa Fushi to the prehistoric era, it is a complete, humane path. Who are you? Long Fei said in a deep voice, looking at the direction where the figure of the sea disappeared, and fell into silence. But at this moment, a red glow suddenly appeared in the bead. Long Fei flinched. Fear arose in his heart. Subconsciously, she shook off the beads in her hand. But it was still too late. The bead seemed to have a locking function, and that red glow directly cut through the void and poured into Long Fei's mind. In an instant, Long Fei froze in place, like a statue. After a while, Long Fei recovered, but his aura has changed drastically from before. The ferocity disappeared. There was even some confusion in his eyes. This is the ancient time? Well, it looks good. The world is so vast, and I can feel the extremely terrifying aura. Long Fei said to himself, looking at the world in front of him with curiosity in his eyes. But for some reason, he always felt that the world in front of him was a little familiar. It seems that I have done something, but I can't remember anything. System, have I been here before? And I always feel like I've done something. Long Fei said softly, but suddenly there was an illusion in his heart. System? Isn't the system gone? But immediately he denied such absurd idea. Although the system is a dog, it is still loyal to itself. How could she abandon herself? Ding, please don't have any illusions, players. You have just arrived in the ancient times. And it is still in the early days of the ancient times. You see, the creatures between the heavens and the earth have just appeared. You said you have been here, and what have you done? Could it be that could it be you who created the world? The system responded angrily. Long Fei was taken aback. Although it is uncomfortable, it must be admitted that the system is right. Shut up. What should I do now? Long Fei asked. Although the feeling in his heart still exists, he now knows that his most urgent task is to solve the system tasks. Of course the task is solved. What about the task? Where did my task go? The system said casually. But it soon became a shock, because at this moment, the system discovered that its mission had disappeared. Don't make a fuss. You posted the mission, so it's possible that it disappeared inexplicably? Long Fei asked back. He didn't believe what the system said at this time, and felt that the system was playing tricks. No, is it really gone? Moreover, it is still in an uncontrollable state, that is to say, I can no longer issue missions. The system responded, but the voice was somewhat unnatural. It was as if he was also filled with shock at this moment. Long Fei fell silent. This is not right. This is definitely not a coincidence. But thinking of this thought made Long Fei extremely afraid. He is now the only state, and there are only a handful of people who can reach this state in the world. But if this is the case, someone can change his memory without anyone noticing, or even erase some of the system's memory, which is terrifying. System, do you think we have encountered something unbelievable? Long Fei asked in a low voice. His heart is heavy. I don't know, but the system has detected an abnormality in your body, which seems to contain a terrifying power. At this time, the system said. Long Fei was startled and even more surprised. He himself didn't feel anything, but at this moment he was prompted by the system to check himself quickly. However, no abnormalities were found. His brow furrowed. He didn't doubt the system's words. But at this time the system could sense it, but he didn't find anything, which proved the horror of that power. But one thing is for sure. If both the system and myself find something is wrong, then there must be an unknown force that has appeared. If you say that, something weird must have happened. Long Fei became more and more sure. I don't know, the system can't perceive any trace of anyone's existence. But it's strange. I seem to remember that I abandoned you, but now you are here again. The system murmured to itself, but these words made Long Fei's scalp tingle instantly. He didn't say, but the absurd feeling he had at the beginning reappeared. Lessons learned. This coincidence made Long Fei instantly certain that something unspeakable must have happened between the system and himself before, but it was unknown what it was. But the inexplicable sense of fear in my heart is getting stronger and stronger, and it is extremely terrifying to be able to do it quietly. Is it the sea? There was an inexplicable guess in his mind. Among the people he knows, the only person who can do this is probably the sea. Of course, there may be another possibility. That is, there is a person in this world who is not inferior to the sea, just like when he never entered the place of origin. The sea was extremely afraid of the place of origin. No matter what kind of existence it is, I can't underestimate it. It seems that I must hurry up. Long Fei thought in his heart. As for the remaining power in the body, he couldn't figure it out, and he didn't want to waste time on it. Since the person who took the shot can do this step without making a sound, it proves that it is definitely not something that he can lift at this stage. WAP. K with Macron nu sh mu 5. Net, since it can't be lifted, it doesn't matter to waste time on it. It's just mediocrity. System, there are no missions now, so how do we count this mission? How do we count rewards and punishments? Long Fei asked. If the mission disappears, that naturally means that the rewards and punishments will disappear. Therefore, you must consider whether you want to continue the task now. Ding, the missions are gone, so are the rewards and punishments. Moreover, the system has detected traces of an inexplicable force intruding, so it needs to block itself and clean it up. The system responded. W. Alfaro. Xwo. Net, it can be seen that the system is also extremely attentive at this time. But it's normal, as far as the system is concerned. Even Long Fei can't interfere with his power. But now there is an unfamiliar force that has changed the system, which makes the system extremely cautious. www. Kaho 5. Net. Long Fei nodded. It's very systematic. Although the system is a bit stupid, it is still very serious when it should be serious. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure, you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure, you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, sure, you also found 3 books beside it. Sure, you picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Sure, you... The titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Sure, Yu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5786. Chapter 5786. Then what should I do next? How can I go back? Long Fei asked. After calming down, Long Fei changed the topic to the main topic. Since the mission disappeared, Long Fei would not be too entangled, but have to go back. That era is the home game, and this is just an episode. Ding! This needs to be found by players themselves. Friendly reminder. Although the mission has been cancelled, Nuwa's consumption actually exists in that time and space. That is to say, players can only exist in this time and space for a maximum of 10 days. No, I feel it seems that there was an accident, and the player had better go back within 3 days. Otherwise, Nuwa might have an accident, the system said. In an instant, Long Fei's face darkened. The system's words remind him. He feels very model-like. It was clear that this was the first time he came here, but he always felt that he had done something here before. It was precisely because of this that the words of the system at this time made Long Fei tremble. Kappa with acute delta 5. Net must speed up. And when the system said the time of 3 days, Long Fei also didn't have any grievances. He even felt that the time said by the system at this time was a bit reserved, and he wanted to be faster. Nuwa is now his own woman. He will never take any risks. At this moment, a bead suddenly flashed a light of humanity. This brilliance is the power of human civilization shining, and there is a fearless belief in it. W. Alfaro. Xwo. Net, just like the human race, cultivated the world in the historical existence. It lasts for a long time and is unyielding. However, Long Fei's expression changed. This breath is clearly already a complete, humane civilization. Long Fei was dumbfounded. System, what's going on here? Didn't I bring a broken bead? Why does it already contain humane civilization? Long Fei asked back. Ding. The system dings, but there is no response. Dumbfounded. Even the system didn't have any explanation at this time. What happened in front of him was beyond the outline, and it couldn't be explained by the power he now possesses. But before Long Fei could think more, the bead hovered and hovered in front of Long Fei. The brilliance shone so brightly that Long Fei didn't even want to look directly at it. It's not that Long Fei's strength is not enough. Rather, this power is human civilization, and as a human race, Long Fei has a natural awe for this power. It doesn't matter how strong he is now. No matter how strong he is, he will not despise the human race. Stretching out his hand slowly, the bead fell into his hand smoothly as if it had a spirituality at this moment. The moment he got it, Long Fei was excited. It seems that at this moment, he has mastered the future of the human race. For a moment, Long Fei had an impulse in his heart that is to destroy the apocalypse tribulation no matter what price he paid. System, can you deduce from the change of this bead who has tampered with it? Long Fei asked, feeling the power of civilization contained in the beads. He was even more astonished beyond measure. He asked himself that he could never do it. Even if the task is still there, if he is asked to deduce human civilization within a few days or even hide it in a bead, he will definitely not be able to do it. This requires extremely terrifying strength to support. Many times it is easier to destroy than to create, but the power that Long Fei is good at is more destruction. As for creation and deduction, he has never been contaminated with this kind of power. So, to a certain extent, the person behind the shot was also helping him. Ding, I can't perceive it, and there is no trace to be found at all. And I advise players not to waste time on this kind of thing. The other party can hide it from you and me and do so many things in silence. It proves that the other party must have controlled an indescribable and illogical force, said the system. Long Fei pouted. I am very upset. He thought that his current cultivation base had reached the only level. Even if someone was stronger than him, he would definitely not feel powerless like before. But now a slap in the face. Even the trace of the other party could not be found. Damn it, when I upset the prehistoric world and push a calamity to the extreme. When I get the power in it, my cultivation level goes a step further and even reaches the legendary one, and only I want to see, in the end, who is still controlling my fate. Long Fei said secretly in his heart. After finishing speaking, Long Fei grasped the pearl of humanity in his hand. In the next moment, he soared into the sky and soared above the 9 heavens. Then countless creatures and hidden existences in the world fell under his gaze. Heavenly Dao Hongjun has not yet attained the Tao. Hollow willows haven't become ancestors yet. The gods and demons are still there. Huh? The Nether Blood Sea has already appeared at this time. It's really weird. Scenes of pictures appeared in Long Fei's eyes. On the one hand, he felt curious, but on the other hand, he felt extremely familiar, and even a lot of power gave him a feeling as if it had been stripped from his body. This feeling is very mysterious and indescribable, but he still had no impulse. He knows that in this world, he can't change anything. After all, this is at the other end of time and space. A little change here might affect the progress of this piece of world. So even though Long Fei had Ji Dong in his heart and wanted to see these creatures, he finally endured it. Gradually, he withdrew his gaze and looked at the world and the surrounding fields. He wants to find Huayun Cave. It's not an era. Many existences between heaven and earth are different from the prehistoric era. So where is the Huayun Cave? Long Fei pondered. Even if there is no task, I still have to go out at this step so that I can find the way back and Nu Hua can be safe and sound. But the world is vast, and he used his strength to traverse the world, looking for it again and again, but he still couldn't find any clues. The next moment, his figure fell from the void, took out the human bead, and stared at it. But apart from being able to see the mileage of the human race contained in it, I can't see anything else, and there is no guidance at all. Where exactly? Long Fei frowned. Suddenly, his eyes moved. No, I seem to have fallen into a misunderstanding. There is no Huayun Cave in this world. In other words, if I create a place and name it Huayun Cave, then it will be Huayun Cave. With a change of thinking, Long Fei's eyes suddenly brightened. His previous thinking was to be bound by himself, to draw the ground as a prison, and he must find Huayun Cave if he had preconceived ideas. But how to find something that does not exist in this world? Now, with just one thought, Long Fei has his own decision in his heart. With a movement of his hand, he turned his eyes and looked at nothingness. The next moment, a little blood appeared in his hand. This blood essence pierced the void, rendering a cloud of blood. The blood-colored cloud was like fire burning in the sky. Drop. Long Fei gave a loud shout. Boom. The blood cloud fell from the sky, and the place where it fell directly stirred up thousands of feet of dust and smoke. When the dust and smoke dissipated, a mountain range suddenly appeared in front of my eyes. Long Fei's eyes lit up. This is the mountain range where Huiyun Cave is located. So, that's how Huiyun Cave came out. Long Fei felt secretly refreshed. After endless coma, Shiryu suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Shiryu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory. Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arms stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5787. Chapter 5787. The mountains are poor, and the rivers are back. I thought it would take a lot of time to find it, but I didn't expect it to be so simple. With a thought, Long Fei strolled into it. According to the location in memory, he directly punched out a cave and then walked in slowly. But just as Long Fei was carrying out his actions step by step, he didn't know that at this moment, 2 figures were overlooking everything in front of him outside the world. It's ridiculous. I thought everything would change when I travel back, but I didn't expect that it was doomed in the torrent of history. A voice appeared. If Long Fei was here, he would be shocked, because this figure is exactly Long Batian. Do you know why I didn't stop you before? I'm used to this kind of thing. Even for the first time, I did it myself, but it still hasn't changed. Another voice appeared, and this voice was the sea. You can't even stop your attack. Can't you kill Long Fei? Long Batian looked at the sea with shock in his eyes. The power of the sea to bring him back from his disorientation was a miracle. Even the only environment has to look up. It was precisely because of this that he was even more shocked at this time, so strong that he couldn't even stop Long Fei. He won't die unless he wants to. Dahai said calmly, "So hanging? What is his origin?" Long Batian was shocked. "The words of the sea are tantamount to a depth bomb. You can't say it. At least it's useless to tell you now. You'd better go through the reincarnation obediently. I'm so annoying. You have to go to the place of origin to face that terrifying existence." Dahai said, without waiting for Long Batian to react. "Come here, grab Long Batian, and disappear into the world." But at this time, Long Fei naturally didn't know that the sea was outside the sky at this time. He blasted out of the Huiyun cave with one punch and walked all the way to the depths. Along the way, he was imagining the competition in the prehistoric world. He didn't even care about it himself. What he said to himself was the same as some of the scenes he and Nuwa awakened when they entered the Huiyun cave to meet the three emperors. At this moment, he was already at the end of Huiyun cave. Let's just put it here. I don't know what kind of opportunity it contains. I hope that I can get incredible power to ensure that I am invincible in the three-way competition in my prehistoric world. Long Fei no longer thought about it, and put this bead is placed here www. Novel. La. As for the rest, he won't do any more. There was already a concept in his mind that nothing would change. In other words, this bead containing humane civilization can only be opened in the hands of Fushi and Nuwa. Although they haven't appeared yet, there will be no mistakes in this period of historical process, which is bound to happen. So Long Fei wouldn't be worried that someone would enter the Huiyun cave. Of course, Long Fei was able to have this confidence because his own blood essence was fused into the Huiyun cave when it was created. His current strength has been so strong that it can be called terrifying. One's own blood essence is enough to shield the ghosts and monsters under the only one. I have to add another setting. Otherwise, it will be troublesome when even Fushi and Nuwa can't come in. Thinking in his heart, Long Fei's figure walked out of Huiyun cave. He can follow his heart. A will of one's own will descend, directly cover this Huiyun cave. And his own will is also very simple. That is to shield the evil spirits of the heavens. This was the ancient times when countless creatures were powerful and ferocious. What he had to do was to shield these beings from Huiyun cave. The only ones allowed are those who are in awe of living beings. And in this era, it is even advancing down an era. The only ones who meet this condition are Fushi and Nuwa. After doing all this, Long Fei's mind also settled down. At least, there will be no mistakes in time. In other words, Nuwa's comfort can be guaranteed for the time being. The next thing is to find the way back. Long Fei thought, and started to walk forward. Within a few steps, his figure appeared directly outside the sky. He has no interest in this world. This feeling emanates from his heart, as if he already knows this world well, and he doesn't want to take another look. But the moment his figure appeared in this prehistoric world, he frowned. His eyes suddenly became serious. Here doesn't seem to be the place of origin. This is not the place of origin, and it's completely different from the breath I felt when I entered the place of origin. Long Fei was shocked. Incredible! As far as he could see, there was a barren galaxy. Countless stars are still decaying and dying, and the direction in which they fell was the world beyond the prehistoric. Boom! Suddenly, under the impact of the scene in front of him, a cognition suddenly appeared in Long Fei's mind. The prehistoric world is the place where stars fall. System, come out. Long Fei directly contacted the system. In this case, only the system can give him an explanation, although his mission is gone. But he naturally remembered what was said in the previous mission. Yi Yurong and Tu Shan Xiaoya were in the place where the stars fell. www.kahu5. Net, doesn't this mean that these two people are in the prehistoric world? Thinking of this thought, Long Fei could no longer suppress his heart. Even at this moment, he couldn't wait to leave this world and return to the prehistoric world. If the prehistoric world is really the place where the stars fall, then it will be regarded as repeating the world, and I will definitely find you. Long Fei's eyes were as cold as iron. That was his woman, and he must rescue it. Even if there is no system task, no force can stop it. It's just that the system seems to have really entered the repair state at this moment, and there is no response. But this discovery also made Long Fei unable to calm down. In the next moment, he looked into the distance. If this is not the place of eternity, then there must be mysteries that I don't know about, such as the origin of the place of origin and even the power of the stars in this galaxy. Long Fei thought. The system didn't respond, but he still wanted to confirm his guess. Immediately after that, his figure flashed, and he walked towards the depths of nothingness. But at this moment, a force suddenly spread out. Immediately afterwards, he saw a bright light flickering out of nothingness. The body of the light is like a huge palm, palms facing up, like 5 fingers spread out, and above those 5 fingers, countless stars twinkled out. Immediately afterwards, a familiar breath rushed over, and this breath belongs to the place of origin. In other words, at this moment, the land of origin appeared. It's like something out of nothing. It's this giant palm that created the place of origin. Long Fei frowned, puzzled in his heart. He had a strong desire to explore that place. It seems that somewhere in the dark, there is a force that wants to attract myself to explore. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room, and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5788. Chapter 5788, Intuition, told Long Fei that countless mysteries were held in this palm. It seems that as long as you figure out the secret of this palm, you can unravel the apocalypse. It must be like this. After reaching the unique realm, many decisions and thoughts will not be lost for nothing. Since I have this kind of guess at this moment, it must be related. A thought flashed, and Long Fei's figure exploded instantly, crossing nothingness, heading towards the place where the light appeared. But the moment his figure stood up, a force suddenly came from under his feet. That force is irresistible, as if pulled by the other side of time and space. Grass. Long Fei cursed loudly, secretly thinking that this power is not the right time. If it wasn't for the fear that if he forcibly cut off the contact, he might not be able to leave this era, which would cause even greater changes. But Long Fei really wanted to be desperate. But at this moment, he had no choice but to give up. There are too many entanglements on the other side of time and space, and he can't take risks. Thinking of this, Long Fei gave up resisting. In the next moment, a beam of light directly enveloped him, engulfing him. On the other side, the prehistoric world, inside Huiyun Cave. The three emperors looked pale. It has even been said that it is infinitely close to a feeling of exhaustion. As for Nvois, her soul is on the verge of collapse. The atmosphere in the arena was extremely tense. Did he fail? Fuxi looked helpless. Today is the 10th day. Their strength has been exhausted to the extreme, especially Nvois, who has reached the verge of death. A quarter of an hour at most. If Long Fei doesn't come back, Nvois, and they will die here. But they don't want to give up. Once they give up, it means that the human race has no hope. It means that what happened in the past will no longer exist. The past does not exist, so where does the present come from? I can't bear it anymore. Although I don't know what happened, but since the other party has not come back until now, it proves that there is an irresistible factor. Perhaps what he endured is more difficult than ours. Shen Nonghuang said, Long Fei is very strong, so strong that they need to look up to him. But they don't know what kind of existence it was in the ancient times. Moreover, what Long Fei wanted to do was not something that anyone with strong strength could do, to create a civilization and hide it in Sumeru. This method is miraculous, and it is not something ordinary people can do. Do your best and obey the destiny. If our human race is doomed to be burned in this life and go through the flames of war, then there will be another battle of the ancients. My human race will never die, and the fire will never go out. As long as one person exists, there is hope after all. Xianyuan Huang said, he is different from the two. He unified the human race by war. He never believed that the inheritance of the human race that stood between the flames of war would be easily destroyed. Emperor Shennong and Emperor Fuxi did not speak. When it comes to the human race, the feelings between the three of them are the same. Otherwise, they would not trust Long Fei either. But now, it is still helpless after all. But they have no resentment in their hearts, and there is no turning back from the decision on this road. That's it. We are doing our best now. Fuxi's eyes darkened. Has been unable to support. He glanced at Nvois in the distance. He smiled miserably. At this time, Nvois' soul is already dissipating. She used her soul to open this space-time channel. And now that the soul of life dissipated, it meant that the channel of time and space was about to be closed. Once it was closed, it proved that Long Fei could not come back. Emperor Shennong and Xianyuan also sighed in their eyes. For them, death is not afraid. It is even a kind of relief. They have been bound for endless years in this Huiyun Cave, and they have long been able to face death. The only regret is that this time it still failed after all. Poor Nvois, she will also be scattered. The eyes of the three dimmed, and the fire of life and soul on Nuwa's body also began to extinguish. Desperation enveloped Huyun Cave, but at this moment a ray of light suddenly flashed, breaking through the passage of time and space. And as the light fell, the space-time channel completely collapsed. Bastard, don't come sooner or later. Why come at this time? Long Fei cursed. Intuition told him that the giant palm that appeared in the depths must involve a big secret. It's a pity that the success fell short. If it wasn't for the traction of the space-time channel, I would definitely go to see what happened. There must be some irresistible force pulling me back. It seems that I don't want me to see the mystery. However, did you stop it? I must find that palm. Long Fei thought to himself, but soon he suppressed all kinds of thoughts. No solution anymore. Now that you've come back here, it's useless to think about it. Master, you are back. At this time a figure appeared. All three of Fushi's eyes were shining. The look of despair has also disappeared, leaving only surprise. In the nick of time, if Long Fei was one step slower, maybe they would really lose their souls. And Long Fei said lightly, and then looked at Nuwa. Although the three of them were in a depressed state at this time, there was no life-or-death crisis. On the contrary, it was Nuwa whose soul of life was already illusory and on the verge of collapse. In this case, he naturally wants to focus on Nuwa. With a thought, a majestic force erupted in the Huyun Cave, enveloped in a mysterious aura, and fell directly on Nuwa's soul. The next moment, Nuwa's life soul exuded divine brilliance, shining brilliantly in the Huyun Cave, and her soul began to recover, perfect in the blink of an eye. But a strange scene happened. That is, Nuwa showed no sign of waking up. Even though her spirit has recovered at this time, she still closes her eyes tightly. What's going on? Long Fei frowned slightly. It doesn't feel right. He has absolute confidence in his own strength. The power to restore Nuwa's soul just now was pulled from his own soul. It is self-evident how powerful his unique soul is. If you really want to compare, it is above the way of heaven. But at this time, under this kind of power, Nuwa didn't react at all and repeatedly fell into an unknown cage. Long Fei's face also changed. My lord, it should be due to the way of heaven. At this time, Fushi said. Long Fei turned his head with a little shock on his face. That's right, Nuwa is a sage of heaven. Although she had unparalleled merits and virtues when she became a saint, she was still subject to the supervision of heaven. She was able to open the space-time channel before, probably because she used the power in it. That is to say, although her soul has been restored, the most critical link is missing. Fushi said, he is the one who knows Nuwa best. Long Fei nodded. So that's the case. That's easy to say. I will untie the shackles between her and Tiandao. Long Fei said calmly. Now that he knew the crux of the problem, Long Fei would not turn a blind eye to it. As for the way of heaven, he didn't care about it at all. Moreover, if he returns now, the calamity between heaven and earth should be pushed forward a step further. Although Tiandao is irrelevant, it has been reduced to accompaniment during this calamity. But after all, this calamity happened in this world, and Tiandao itself will definitely understand it. Omega W. Netten Shui. Zai with grave after coming for so long. Long Fei also wanted to see what kind of existence the Tao of Heaven is in this world. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, Sure Yu subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory? Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, Shiryu quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5789. Chapter 5789, The Prehistoric World. Above Nothingness, Zixiao Palace. In Zixiao Palace, Hongjun stared at the front with pensive eyes. At this moment, he was restless. He has never felt that he is dignified, and he will fall into such a passivity one day. Especially just a moment ago, he could sense the changes about Niuwa in the Tao of Heaven. This also proves that that person is back. He is back. In other words, these people have failed. What that person said is really good, and nothing will change. Kenshu, Zai with grave. Also, it seems that with his return, some memories appeared in my mind. Hongjuan's expression was extremely serious. It is even said that it is with fear. It seems that nothing has really changed, and everything that happened was preordained, including that they traveled through time and space to go back to the past and want to snipe Long Fei. It was already predestined from the very beginning. Hong Jun had mixed feelings in his heart. Just a moment ago, the heavenly path trembled, as if some kind of early warning had occurred. Then he felt that the soul of one of the 6 heavenly saints was constantly trembling. Afterwards, many memories appeared in his mind. If this hadn't happened to him, he wouldn't have known that he had seen such a scene in the depths of his memory. That's right, what he saw was the scene of Long Fei devouring madly in the chaos, and then beheading Long Batian and others. WWW. Novel. Come. It's just that this memory seemed to appear in his mind out of thin air, which made him extremely astonished. It's too terrifying. The existence of the heavenly Tao realm is like a chicken and a dog in front of him. He can be killed with a single sword. He was terrified. Even though this memory had been cut off for eternity, it still made him terrified at this moment. Even if he is Tian Dao, he can't take it lightly at this time. That is the real power of destruction, which can kill him. But it's that person who is really scary. Hong Jun sighed, and the figure of Dahai once again appeared in his mind. Although in the era when the chaos first opened, the sea was isolated from its own breath. But he is clear. The sea also went to that era. That's why the two figures overlapped in his eyes. Thinking of this, he felt powerless in his heart. My own way of heaven is coming to an end. This is Xiao Palace, but that's all. At this moment, a voice suddenly appeared in his ears. Moreover, the voice was so ethereal that he didn't notice it at all. As for Hongjun, the moment he heard the voice, he suddenly raised his head and looked towards the sky. He was too familiar with this voice, and the scene that was staged in his memory before resurfaced before his eyes. This is the killing god. In an instant, his spirit tensed up, his nerves tensed up, a chill rose from the bottom of his heart, and he felt the crisis surrounding him. After all, this is a master who kills without blinking an eye. In his eyes, the realm of heaven is like grass and trees, which can be destroyed with a single sword. While thinking about it, Long Fei's figure had already appeared in front of him. Poor Dao Hongjun, I have met your excellency. Hongjun took the initiative to get up, not daring to put on a posture. No, in front of Long Fei, he has no posture to speak of. Long Fei was stunned for a moment, looking at Hongjun in such a posture. His eyes also had an unbelievable expression. This time I can't fix it for him. Originally, he wanted to let Hongjun free Niuwa's soul from the heaven with an absolutely high-handed posture. Just do it, if you don't accept it. But I didn't expect Hongjun to play such a game for him when he came up, which made him collapse in an instant with the words he had prepared in advance. Are you sure you are Hongjun? Long Fei asked back, with doubts in his eyes. It's illogical. Is a heavenly Tao so cowardly? The poor way is Hongjun. Your Excellency's intention to come has something to do with Niuwa, right? Hongjun asked. Long Fei nodded. The purpose of my coming will be discussed later. Can you tell me about you first? Are you sure you are Tiandao? Is it Tiandao, Hongjun? Hongjun. Hearing Long Fei's words, the fear in Hongjun's heart exploded even more. So ruthless, this person's mind has long been like a sword. He must be trying to arouse my dissatisfaction by saying this at this time. Once I showed any dissatisfaction, he took the opportunity to attack. Hongjun slowly raised his head, looking at Long Fei from the corner of his eye. At this moment, he saw Long Fei's extremely complicated eyes. It was as if a certain plan had failed. Sure enough, that's what he thinks. But it's a pity. As the Tao of Heaven, I must be able to bend and stretch, and I must not give him a chance to get mad. Hongjun thought in his heart. At this moment, he was extremely determined. That is the meaning of absolutely not disobeying Long Fei. No matter what he wants, he cannot raise objections. Otherwise, the result waiting for him will be extremely miserable. Thinking of this, he said, Don't worry, Your Excellency, I am indeed Hongjun, the heavenly Tao of this world. By the way, Your Excellency is a guest, and I will summon the heavenly Tao saint to clean up the dust for you. Hongjun said, pointing in the sky. A red glow split open the sky and the earth in an instant. Long Fei. System, is this a fake? Why do I feel something is wrong? Long Fei was speechless. It was completely different from what he thought. He began to look at Hongjun carefully. This heaven is a bit cowardly. This is his final decision. But how did he know that Hongjun had witnessed his ferocity, and he would behave like this at this time? If he hadn't witnessed everything Long Fei had done, who would make him bow his head? Of course, Dahai and Longbation are also exceptions. Ding! The system has detected that this person has merged with this world. He is the way of heaven, and the way of heaven is him. As for why it is so afraid of you, the system does not know. The system responded. Afraid of me? Long Fei raised his eyebrows, sensing the key point. That's right. When the system said this, Long Fei also clarified Hongjun's attitude at this time. He is afraid of himself. Are you afraid of me? Long Fei asked. Hongjuan's expression froze. The smile on his face also froze. Murder and murder. He's still testing me, trying to force me to explode. But I can't. As the Tao of Heaven, I must focus on the overall situation. Hongjun thought to himself. The next moment, he laughed sarcastically. Your Excellency has already touched the level of Tao. I, Hongjun, have superficial cultivation, and I respect you very much. Hongjun said. He felt that his life would be worse than death. I have already bowed my head to such an extent by myself. It is unexpected that Long Fei still refuses to let him go. Hearing these words, Long Fei couldn't calm down. Very good. WAP. K with Macron nu sh mu 5. Net after a long time, Long Fei sighed. But it's okay, since he showed such a gesture at this time. The next thing he has to do is much simpler. In that case, then I won't talk nonsense. This time, I want to ask you for someone. Is that okay? Long Fei asked. But what Long Fei didn't expect was that Hongjun, who had shown all before, shook his head repeatedly at the moment Long Fei's voice fell. Long Fei's face darkened. What? You don't want to? After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory, even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5790. Chapter 5790. In an instant, the entire Zixiao Palace seemed to collapse at this moment. Even though it carried Hongjuan's Law of Heaven, the change of Long Fei's aura still caused the Law of Heaven to collapse, and cracks appeared. Hongjuan's expression changed drastically. Wait. He hastily waved his hands. Don't be impatient. Your Excellency, I know the purpose of your coming, but I can't promise you, but it's for your own good. Hongjun said quickly, finishing in one breath. He didn't even dare to pause in his voice. I was afraid that if I was a step slower in speaking, it would make Long Fei unhappy and kill him. He even felt that he was now in a race against time. In the scene back then, this was the one who didn't agree with each other and immediately started to kill. Say, give me a reasonable explanation at the end. Otherwise, I'd like to see what it's like to kill a heaven realm. Long Fei said. Hong Jun secretly cursed in his heart. Sure enough, it was here waiting for him. Kenshu, Zai with grave, I also want to see what it feels like to kill one. You are not satisfied with killing more than 100, right? Hong Jun thought in his heart, but he absolutely dare not say such words. Slightly pondering, he said, I know that you are here for Nuwa, but if you strip her soul from the way of heaven, it will really cut off her retreat. Although I am the way of heaven, but Nuwa is also my disciple. Hong Jun said. Long Fei sneered. The way of heaven is ruthless, but at this time Hong Jun played fan love, which made Long Fei a little at a loss for a while. WWW. Novel. Come, La, get to the point. Don't test my patience. Long Fei's expression was cold. Ahem, it's mainly because your excellency is here, so I want to give you a big gift. Help Nuwa to escape. Hong Jun said, loud and resolute. There was even an expression of extreme longing on his face. It seems that helping Nuwa to escape is what he has been looking for in his life. And Long Fei's heart was also shaken. Detachment. He naturally knew Nuwa's true strength at this time. Although she was a sage of heaven, she relied more on the power of heaven. Without the support of heaven, they would not even be considered unique, but only pseudo-unique. So at this time, Hong Jun's words moved Long Fei very much. After all, Nuwa is also his woman at this time. WWW. Novel. Calm. If he could let her take that step, Long Fei would naturally enjoy it. Tell me, how can she transcend? Long Fei asked. Hong Jun heaved a sigh of relief. Seeing Long Fei's expression at this moment, he knew that Long Fei had moved and would not attack him at this time. Sure enough, I'm still better at chess. Hong Jun felt a little proud in his heart, feeling that he had already walked on the verge of death. After pondering for a while, he continued, Your Excellency should know the cultivation system of this world. Although Nuwa is a sage of heaven, she is using a trick. In addition to her merits, her soul enters the heaven. But in fact, her merits are only to promote the development of the human race in this world, and they are bestowed by the heavens, which cannot be counted. As Hong Jun said, he paused slightly and looked at Long Fei. Long Fei was expressionless. Of course, he didn't have the slightest doubt about Hong Jun's words. He naturally knew what was going on behind the merits of Nuwa's creation of human beings. That has something to do with me. The civilization of the human race appeared because of me. And then Long Fei asked, so if Nuwa wants to transcend, she must cut off her own obsession. Hong Jun said. Long Fei was taken aback. Obsession? Suddenly, he thought of the principle of sanctification in the prehistoric world, which is to cut off the 3 corpses. The 3 corpses are the good corpse, the evil corpse, and the obsessive corpse. Hong Jun observed his words, saw Long Fei's reaction at this time, and guessed what he was thinking, and continued. The so-called obsession is the corpse of your obsession. Only if she takes this step by herself can she be detached. If you forcibly make a move, or if I make a move to strip her soul from the way of heaven, it will be absolutely impossible. Out of her way. Long Fei listened, and his face became ponderous. There is no way to refute. With Long Fei's insight, he naturally knew that what he said was true at this time. But this involves another problem. What you said really tempted me, but Nuwa is unconscious at this moment. How can she escape? Long Fei asked, if Nu Hua is awake, he is naturally willing to let Nu Hua try. But now that Nu Hua's soul has an accident, if there is no return of the soul in the heaven, it will be difficult for her to wake up, let alone cut off the 3 corpses. No, although your excellency has outrageous means and is in charge of killing and destroying, but caring makes chaos. The reason why Nu Hua can't wake up is not because of the destiny soul in the way of heaven, but because she has fallen into obsession at this time. In other words, she also wants to transcend herself. If she didn't perceive this, Pindao wouldn't dare to tell your excellency this. Hong Jun said. Long Fei Tong Kong shrank. Caught in obsession? He asked back. His eyes locked on Hong Jun's expression. But he saw Hong Jun nodding his head firmly. You mean, if Nu Hua can't cut off her obsession, then she won't be able to wake up? Long Fei asked, with worry in his eyes. Hong Jun nodded and said, that's right. However, I can allow you to integrate into the Tao of Heaven, wander above the order of the Tao of Heaven, and enter Nu Hua's obsession. When he said this, Hong Jun was extremely serious. Although it's a shame for him, it's a great adventure. After all, he is the way of heaven. If Long Fei is allowed to integrate into the Tao of Heaven, it means that he will withdraw from the control of Tao of Heaven. If Long Fei has any thoughts, he will be expelled directly. But in order to be able to stabilize Long Fei, he felt that it was worth doing all this. Moreover, he is also aware of the competition between Long Fei, Dahai, and Long Batian. They are the absolute masters of this world, and when the calamity breaks out, the one who can truly control the fate of the prehistoric world must be one of the 3 of them. But at this moment, Long Batian has been ruled out by him, and the sea is extremely mysterious, as if it doesn't care much about everything. That's why he chose Long Fei. Integrate into the Tao of Heaven. You don't think you want to do something secretly, do you? But at this time, Long Fei's voice came leisurely. Hong Jun, tired? Destroy it. He felt that Lao Fei was targeting him, and even wanted to kill him. What he didn't know was that Long Fei had already started in-depth communication with the system at this time. Long Fei, system, if I merge with the Tao of Heaven, will I lose my initiative? System, no, on the contrary, it's Hong Jun who has to be more frightened. At that time, you will be above the order of the heaven. If you want, you can directly expel him from the heaven. Long Fei, so he is the one who should be worried? But why did he do this? In all fairness, I set off the conferred god calamity. Won't he target me? System, I don't know. In an instant, Long Fei had already analyzed everything from the system's mouth. Therefore, even the eyes have become complicated. It's hard to understand what Hong Jun is trying to figure out. After endless coma, sure you suddenly got up from the bed. If you want to watch the latest chapter content, please download the Star Reading app, the latest chapter content without ads. The website has not updated the latest chapter content, and the Star Reading novel app has updated the latest chapter content. He took a big gulp of fresh air, his chest trembling. Confused, puzzled, all kinds of emotions came to my mind. Where is this? Afterwards, sure you subconsciously observed his surroundings, and then became even more at a loss. A single dormitory? Even if he was successfully rescued, he should be in the ward now. And my own body, how could there be no injuries at all? With doubts, sure you quickly swept his gaze across the room and finally settled on a mirror by the bedside. The mirror reflected his current appearance. He was about 17 or 18 years old, and he was very handsome. But the problem is, it's not him. Download the Star Reading app and read the latest chapter content without ads for free. My previous self was a handsome young man in his 20s who had been working for a while. But now, no matter how you look at it, this appearance is only the age of a high school student. This change left Shiryu in a daze for a long time. Don't tell him that the operation was a success. The body and appearance have changed. This is not a question of whether to have surgery or not, but a fairy art. He turned into a completely different person. Could it be that he crossed over by himself? In addition to the mirror on the bedside, which was obviously placed in a bad feng shui position, Shiryu also found 3 books beside it. Shiryu picked it up and took a look. The title instantly silenced him. Necessary Beast Breeding Handbook for Novice Breeders, Postpartum Care of Pet Animals, Guidelines for Evaluation of Alien Beast Ear Girls. Shiryu, the titles of the first 2 books are quite normal. What's the matter with you in the last one? Cough. Shiryu's eyes were serious, and he stretched out his hand, but soon his arm stiffened. Just when he was about to open the 3rd book to see what it was, his brain suddenly felt a stabbing pain, and a large amount of memories flooded in like a flood. Icefield City, Pet Breeding Base, Trainee Pet Keeper. The website will be closed soon. Download the Star Reading app to provide you with the most powerful upgrade system, Beastmaster. Chapter 5791. Chapter 5791. The 2 fell silent. Hong Jun endured the humiliation in his heart. I am a god. Why have I ever bowed my knees so lowly? And Long Fei also had his own ideas. He was a god. How could he become a licking dog? This is unreasonable. However, this state did not last long and was soon broken. It was broken with the arrival of the 5 figures. As soon as the 5 people arrived, their expressions changed suddenly when they saw the 2 people facing each other in the field. Of course, more shock came from Long Fei. Who is this person? Can he sit on an equal footing with Master? How dare you face Master directly? How courageous! Where did this fierce man come from? Is this provoking the authority of heaven? The world is crazy, and it's getting more and more chaotic. Reading books, they have different thoughts, but the only thing they have in common is their fear of Long Fei. It's absolutely unusual for someone to be able to pose in such a posture in front of Tiandao, and they couldn't sense Long Fei's aura. This shows that Long Fei's strength is already far above them. Long Fei just glanced at a few people indifferently, then withdrew his gaze. Hong Jun took advantage of the situation and said, "Since you don't believe it, you might as well take a look at them. They are all people whose souls have entered the way of heaven. You can try to strip their spirits from the way of heaven, then you will know what I said was true. Long Fei, you are really good at it. Use your apprentice's wealth and life to lick it." The Taishang and others obviously didn't know what was going on, but when they heard that Hong Jun had actually asked Long Fei to strip their souls of heaven, they all had confusion in their eyes. Because they have the soul of the way of heaven, they are considered saints. If they don't have this kind of power, then they will come down from the position of saints, and without the power of saints, it will be difficult to survive in this world. After all, a catastrophe sweeping across the prehistoric land is about to happen. Under such a calamity, they themselves are already extremely difficult, and it is difficult to escape from it. If there is no support from the power of heaven now, they will also fall into catastrophe. Life and death will be difficult to control themselves. In an instant, the faces of several people became extremely embarrassing. "Master, what do you mean?" "Master, what did I do wrong?" "Master, absolutely not. Now, that Fengshen Liangji has been invaded by thieves. Their means are not weak. At this time, you must not take risks, Master." At this time, one person said. Long Fei frowned and looked at the other party. "Ding player, he is scolding you." The system said. "Cape with acute Delta 5. Net, I know." Long Fei responded. "Then what are you waiting for? Haven't you been looking for an opportunity to make a move? This is the opportunity." The system responded. "Long Fei, are you so cruel? I am speaking the truth, although I am looking for an opportunity to show my hand so that Tiandao can retreat in the face of difficulties. But since entering here, Tiandao's performance has been quite satisfactory, and there is no reason for him to make a move. But now the system is right, this is an opportunity. His eyes sank, and a chill appeared in Long Fei's eyes. But the moment he was about to speak, he froze, because without waiting for him to make a move, Hong Jun sanctioned him for speaking up. When Hong Jun moved one hand, Jane's body was directly blocked by chains. On this chain, there is the meaning of divine punishment. Presumptuous. You are still here as a teacher. It's your turn to speak. You are only a sage of the heavenly way, and being a teacher is the way of heaven. Now you dare to do it for you. Do you still want to be a teacher in the future? Hong Jun snorted coldly. Immediately, the heavenly chains were like long whips, flashing with lightning and fire, whipping on Jiaying's body time and time again. No, Master, why is this? Jiaying never had such an idea. A series of changes will lead to Demeng. He had no idea why he had such an innocent disaster. Didn't the decree come down before to target the people in the world of cholera? Isn't what he said now exactly his previous will? Why is it now that he has become a big rebel? No? Humph. I see that's what you're thinking about right now. You think that as a teacher, you don't know your plan, and you want to take advantage of the God conferred to measure calamity to open up your civilization and make your Western religion the mainstream of enlightening the world. Why, now that you see the changes in conferred God quantity calamity, you want to replace me and carry out your teachings? Hong Jun snorted coldly. Hearing this, his face turned pale. The others were even more silent. They were deeply shocked by the scene they saw. Never thought it would be such a result. Today's Hong Jun doesn't look a little bit like the Supreme of Heaven, like a shrew cursing the street, but he doesn't care about his status at all. WL Xwo, Ned at the same time. They also realized that the problem was wrong. Subconsciously, they set their eyes on Long Fei. Under the current situation, there is one and only one possibility, and it must be related to Long Fei, which made Hong Jun act like this. And Long Fei's identity is naturally ready to be revealed. For a while, everyone fell silent. A single guess made them silent like cicadas, especially Jiaying, who has a bitter look on his face at this time. How could he have imagined that the person standing in front of him now was actually Cholera, the rightful lord of the gods, the thief he called himself? Long Fei was also shocked by the sudden scene in front of him. This is really watertight. Just as he was about to make a move, Hong Jun did this kind of thing, even going so far as to personally take action against him. Your Excellency, now is the opportunity. I will deprive him of the body of a sage of the heavenly Tao, strip him of his soul, and you will be integrated into the Tao of heaven, and then you can enter the world of Nuwa's obsession. Hong Jun said. Long Fei remained silent. I always feel that Hong Jun has bad intentions. Ding, congratulations to the player for triggering the system task, surpassing the laws of heaven, and gaining insight into the fundamentals of the wild. While Long Fei was thinking about how to make a choice, the system's voice suddenly appeared. Long Fei was taken aback. There was a bit of disbelief in his eyes. System, are you kidding me? The task is triggered at this time? Besides, didn't you say that the task has disappeared? Long Fei wanted to refuse, but Hong Jun's attitude was a bit ambiguous. It's unbelievable that a heavenly Tao can lower his attitude to such an extent. The more so, the more suspicious Long Fei felt. But when the system triggered the task at this time, it caught Long Fei by surprise. Ding! The system doesn't know what's going on. Originally, even the mission function has disappeared. Even if I repaired it, it didn't recover, but at that moment, it seemed that an inexplicable force poured in and then triggered the system mission. And irreversible. The system responded with an unprecedentedly serious tone. A deep light appeared in Long Fei's eyes. He knows the system too well. If it was a task issued by the system would definitely not say such a thing with such a gesture. But at this time, he was so dignified, which is enough to show the seriousness of the situation. Irreversible. What will happen if I don't answer? Long Fei asked. Ding. If you don't answer, the player's cultivation will be sealed forever, just like the power sealed in your body at this time. Even if you are the only one immortal, you can no longer use your power. The system responded. Chapter 57:92. Chapter 57:92. The words of the system shocked Long Fei, and then fell silent. It was like being imprisoned in an inexplicable cage. It turns out, someone can manipulate the system. This is something he never thought of. Moreover, from the words of the system, it can be clearly seen that even the system is ignorant of this power. Could it be the person who created the system? Long Fei thought to himself. The person who created the system was in the place of origin. Could it be because he entered the place of origin that he attracted their attention? But in a flash, Long Fei felt something was wrong again. My own system seems to be inextricably linked to the sea. Could it be that the sea is the one doing the tricks? As Long Fei thought about it, his eyes became even more serious. Ding, congratulations to the player for accepting the task. Mission objective: to be in harmony with the way of heaven, to gain insight into the root of the prehistoric world. Mission time: 3 days. Mission reward: calamity energy. The energy of calamity. It can greatly increase the power of calamity. Omega Omega W. Net mission punishment: banning cultivation. The sound of the system appeared one after another, and Long Fei also fell into restlessness. This quest comes inexplicably, and the quest requirements and rewards seem to have a deep meaning, which is completely different from before. The emergence and rewards of the previous system tasks were all to improve oneself, but this time it seemed to be leading him in a certain direction. But there is no way. Now the task has appeared, and it is irreversible, and now it has been automatically accepted. All I can do is to complete it. Thinking of this, he said, I promised you, since you are so sincere in inviting me, if I refuse you again, I will lose face. Long Fei said. Hongjuan's expression eased, as if a boulder in his heart had finally landed. Okay, I will strip off the soul of this traitor. Hongjun said. He made up his mind that there must be no conflict with Long Fei, so he did not hesitate to sacrifice to lead. Jian seemed to realize this at this time, and bowed his head without saying a word, as if he had resigned himself to his fate. But at the moment Hongjun was about to make a move, Long Fei stopped him. No need, it's meaningless to enter the way of heaven. Since you want to do it, you should be thorough and fit the way of heaven. Long Fei said, and then looked at Hongjun. This is not a temptation. Since the system task requires it, he can only do it. What surprised him was that when his voice fell, he thought that Hongjun would become angry. After all, the prerequisite for him to be fit for heaven was to squeeze him out. But Hongjun didn't show this kind of performance. He just froze for a moment, and then a gleam burst out of his eyes. Kenshu, Zai with grave, Your Excellency, are you serious? Hongjuan's voice was a little trembling, and his emotions were extremely complicated, with a bit of disbelief in his anticipation, as if this was not a calamity for him, but an opportunity. Long Fei was dumbfounded, and looked at Hongjun with a frown. Hongjuan's reaction was beyond his expectation. You seem to be looking forward to it. Long Fei asked, I don't dare to hide it. From the moment I fit into the Tao of heaven, I wanted to get out of it all the time. This kind of eternal life, this kind of supremacy, is more like a cage. Moreover, as time goes by, my thinking, my humanity, and my ego are slowly being assimilated, as if they have become the rules themselves. Hongjun said. Long Fei Tong Kong shrank. What the hell? I thought that doing this would embarrass Hongjun, but only now did he realize that he was really thinking too much. There's no embarrassment here. It's clearly here to give benefits. Hongjun has waited countless years, and now he is about to rescue him from the sea of suffering by such a mistake. Moreover, Long Fei did not doubt that Hongjun's words were false. The eagerness and expectation in his eyes was very real in Long Fei's eyes. If you say that, it's still dangerous to be in harmony with the Tao of Heaven. Long Fei said in a deep voice, For Pindao, it may be a tribulation, but for your excellency, it may be an opportunity. Hongjun said suddenly, How to say? Long Fei asked back. After I fit into the Tao of Heaven, I would occasionally be inspired by a certain will, but it was a bit of a trick for me to become the Tao of Heaven, so I didn't dare to approach that summon of will at all. But your excellency is different. Your strength has already surpassed the way of heaven. You have entered the great way, and you have become the law of incarnation. Therefore, with your strength, you can explore what kind of existence that will is. Hongjun said. Long Fei pondered. Although Hongjun is in harmony with the way of heaven, in terms of strength, he is also tantamount to the only realm. Although there is still some gap with myself, it is not an easy generation. But the more so, the more curious Long Fei was. What is the existence that can exude its own will, which makes Hongjun so afraid? All of a sudden, Long Fei felt curious in his heart. Seeing Long Fei's expression, Hongjun already knew that Long Fei was tempted and quickly said, I once guessed that this will occur in the prehistoric world itself, as if in this world there is a place that the Tao of Heaven has never controlled, and that will emanates from it. Long Fei looked at Hongjun. At this moment, he suddenly thought of the picture he saw in the ancient times. Countless stars fell, and the place where it fell was the prehistoric world. Reminiscing that he didn't find any strange aura in the world wrapped by his divine sense before, Long Fei began to guess in his heart that maybe that place had a great connection with what Hongjun said at this time. Thinking of this, Long Fei didn't have any reluctance in his heart. It's really interesting. If that's the case, get out of the way of heaven, I'll do it. Long Fei said domineeringly, No matter what, pretending to be like the wind is always with me, especially when Hongjun lowered his posture so much in front of him. How could he miss it? But at this moment, Hongjun had a bitter expression on his face. Your Excellency, I don't know. Although I have tried countless times to escape from the Tao of Heaven, I have never succeeded. It seems that Tao of Heaven is a cage that requires special power to open. Hongjun said. Long Fei was taken aback. Special power? Ding, players can try to use Jie Yin's power. At this time, the system suddenly interrupted. Long Fei's eyes lit up. If possible, perhaps only this kind of power can undo the shackles of heaven. In the next moment, his palm moved, and an unexplainable force that could not be seen directly appeared in his hand. Is it this thing? Long Fei asked. Cannot wait for any response. The entire Zixiao Palace suddenly collapsed in front of him. Not only that, all of the supreme heavenly Tao saints showed horror on their faces, and even Hongjun's eyes showed great fear. Long Fei quickly held his hand. He also didn't expect that Jie Yin's power would be so powerful that it would make them reveal this expression. This is the seed of heavenly robbery. Hongjun let out a horrified expression. Even looking at Long Fei's expression changed. Chapter 5793. Chapter 5793, regarding Long Fei. He knew much more than the Taishang and others. The conversation between Dahai and Long Batian did not shy away from him. At that time, he knew that Long Fei was absolutely unusual. Even, it is related to a big secret. This is also the fundamental reason why he is willing to make the previous gesture. But at this moment, his fear became instinctive. The moment Long Fei showed this kind of power, he understood how terrifying Long Fei was. With this power alone, he can collapse the heavens in an instant. Heavenly tribulation seed. Long Fei repeated, but it was a question. Hongjun nodded. That's right. Any world will have its own rules from birth. And above the rules, there is a calamity. Kappa with acute delta 5. Net, that's what it means to end the void and come up with a calamity. It seems to be a force born to destroy the rules. Whenever there is a deviation in the operation of the heavens, the calamity will come. Hongjun explained. Long Fei's expression was serious. I never expected that the power I felt in a single thought had such a big background. Born to destroy rules? Sounds like a dick. Then can this power undo your heavenly shackles and free you from it? Long Fei asked. Hongjun nodded heavily, with endless expectations in his eyes. Of course, if you can't even do it with this kind of power, I'm afraid there is no power in the world that can do it. Hongjun gave an affirmative answer. He didn't expect that he would see hope at this moment for what he had planned for countless years. It can only be said that happiness came too suddenly. Okay, then I'll try it. Long Fei said, simply decisive. Since this power is feasible, there is nothing to hesitate. After all, this mission is only 3 days long, and Yua is also involved in it. My lord, please follow me. Hongjuan's attitude became more respectful, and even his title changed. But at this time he was not dissatisfied in the slightest. After all, whether he can escape from the Tao of Heaven is entirely in Long Fei's hands at this time. Without any hesitation, Long Fei followed Hongjun into the endless void with a flash of his figure. Soon, the two passed through endless nothingness and came to a mountain range. This is a mountain born from nothingness. It is filled with the charm of heaven, and it is extremely rich. The way of heaven is invisible, but after I fit into the way of heaven, I felt that there must be a place to live. So I made the way of heaven concrete. And here is Tiandao Mountain. As Hongjun said, he pushed away the clouds and mist and presented the face of Tiandao Mountain in front of Long Fei. Long Fei was amazed. It is also a talent to visualize intangible props. Now, my body is in the heavenly Tao Mountain. It's ridiculous to say that I concretized the rules of the heavenly Tao as a mountain of the heavenly Tao, but I was bound in a cocoon and painted the ground as a prison. It's not just me, it's the same with Nuwa and their spirits at this time. WAP. K with Macron Nuas H mu 5. Net. And the rules on Tiandao Mountain are the cages, which make it impossible for us to break free. Hongjun said bitterly, this can be said to be the choice he regrets the most. Back then, in order to be able to suppress the riots in the ancient times and conform to the meaning of the Tao, he opened the first robbery of the Dragon and Han dynasty, and he also took advantage of the situation to become the Tao of Heaven. But this is not a gift, but a constraint. Since then, he has no relationship with detachment. Even with the power beyond heaven and earth, he is still a prisoner, powerless to change. Throughout the ages, he has been thinking about getting out of the shackles of the heavens all the time, but there is nothing he can do. But he didn't expect that now, by accident, Long Fei would want to replace him, so he naturally couldn't wish for it. Long Fei heard Hongjuan's explanation. Digu also appeared in my heart. I finally understood why Hongjun agreed so readily before, and now his feelings are like helping him out of the sea of suffering. But things have come to this. No matter what, Long Fei will naturally go out at this step. Okay, since that's the case, just leave the rest to me. Long Fei said, didn't flinch. Not only is it a system task, but more importantly, he suspects that the special existence that Hong Jun mentioned is very likely to be related to the place where the stars fall, and if he wants to find that place, he must be in harmony with the way of heaven. First step. Hong Jun folded his hands and retreated. The moment Long Fei's figure disappeared, Tiandao Mountain also disappeared out of thin air. Long Fei remained calm. No surprises. After all, this is the power that Hong Jun embodied, not the real existence of the Tao of heaven. The way of heaven is invisible, it is a rule, and it is supreme. It is also because Hong Jun has integrated the way of heaven that he has the power to visualize the way of heaven. But Long Fei naturally has his own means. As Hong Jun said, the way of heaven is a prison. If you compare him to a prison, Hong Jun and others are just prisoners. But Long Fei is different. Long Fei controls the tribulation seat of the heavenly Tao, which is equivalent to controlling the key of this prison. In other words, he is the one who controls this prison. With one thought, Long Fei took out the power of Jie Yin and presented it in his hands. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, the nothingness in front of him became restless, and countless forces intertwined vertically and horizontally, as if they were latitude and longitude. Countless regular lines intertwined to form a space standing in nothingness. And this is the most fundamental manifestation of the way of heaven. Long Fei stepped forward and approached directly. The next moment, the power of Jie Yin in his hand seemed to burn like a flame, and then directly merged into the illusory space in front of him visible to the naked eye. In an instant, streaks of light and shadow floated out of it. It is the soul that Hong Jun and others have integrated into it, even including Nuwa. It's just different from the others. Nuwa's soul is in a state of deep sleep, and her expression is extremely tangled, as if she is stuck in a quagmire and cannot extricate herself. Long Fei frowned, feeling a little unusual. Thank you, my lord, for taking the shot. Hong Jun had endless joy on his face. He fits the way of heaven, and he is the most essential him at this time. Originally, he was extremely afraid of Long Fei, but now because Long Fei escaped from the sea of suffering, he has infinite respect in his eyes. As for the Taishang class, they have a dazed expression on their faces, even a look of confusion. What's the matter with Nuwa? Long Fei ignored Hong Jun's words and asked directly, My lord, Nuwa has fallen into obsession. If I'm not mistaken, the change of her soul should have something to do with what I said, the will beyond that day. Hong Jun, explained Road. Is it related to that place? What's going on? Long Fei was even more puzzled. Several heavenly sages are fine. Why only Nuwa would fall into this state, which makes the public fee puzzled. Hong Jun shook his head. Frankly speaking, he didn't know why this happened, and what he said was just his own speculation. Now that Long Fei showed so much concern for Nuwa, he naturally didn't dare to talk nonsense. At this point, Long Fei's eyes narrowed into a line. It seems that there are some things that I can only understand after I am in heaven, he said lightly, then ignored Hong Jun and the others at all, and stepped into the space woven by the rules of that day's Tao in one step. Chapter 5794. Chapter 5794 rules have always been illusory. At least, that's what Long Fei thought before he stepped into the space woven by the Tao of Heaven. But when he entered it, he realized that he was wrong. Heaven also has its own consciousness. The moment he entered this space, a voice suddenly appeared in his mind. You finally came. The voice was tired, as if it had been waiting for too long. It was always waiting for Long Fei. Are you waiting for me? Long Fei felt incredible. Long Fei felt inexplicable. Why do I suddenly feel like a heartbroken man, and the other party is looking forward to it? But Long Fei swears that although he has been a soaring lunatic, it is the spirit of the ancient world and has nothing to do with this prehistoric world. Of course, I have been waiting for you for countless years. That voice appeared again. Are you the Tao of Heaven? Long Fei asked again. Getting an affirmative answer from the other party made Long Fei feel inexplicably terrified. It's the first time he's trying to think of the way of heaven. Why suddenly it seems like he has done something before? That's right. I can't say what kind of existence I am, but I have appeared since the opening of the sky. I witnessed with my own eyes that you created the world, killed many powerful people, and watched you leave from me. At that time, I wished you could stay, but unfortunately, there was a person who was too terrifying and directly suppressed my consciousness. Even if I wanted to ask you to stay, I didn't have the strength. The voice of heaven appeared again. Long Fei. Long Fei felt his mind was blank. What the hell? Create heaven and earth. Kill a lot of horror beings. That's what I did. That's what he did. Did you recognize the wrong person? Long Fei frowned. This way of dialogue made Long Fei feel out of place, as if the two of them were not on the same channel at all. No, I will always remember your breath. But it's normal that you don't remember those things. That terrifying existence sealed your power and memory and told me, let me guide you to do something. The voice of heaven said. Hearing this sentence, Long Fei's expression froze instantly. In an instant, his heart swelled and his eyes became heavy. He has always felt that he has lost some memories. Although he doesn't know exactly what memories, he feels that those are extremely important to him. Knowing this news from Tian Daoku at this moment made Long Fei more certain that the memories he had lost must have great significance to him, even related to the apocalypse. Since you said you witnessed everything, then tell me what happened back then. Also, what kind of existence is that terrifying existence you mentioned? Long Fei continued to ask. He desperately wants to know everything. The person behind him controls absolutely terrifying power, not only can control his own memory, but also can change the system. If this kind of person doesn't know who it is, his life and death will not be guaranteed. However, at this time, the voice of heaven suddenly fell silent. I didn't speak again. Long Fei frowned and looked around. What do you mean? Didn't you say that I created you? If so, you still have to hold back on me? Long Fei's tone was not kind, feeling that fate was being dominated. Suddenly, he thought of a more terrifying possibility. Maybe this system task at this time is at the mercy of that person. This is horrible. That's why he wanted to know who it was. Sorry, I can't do it. I don't know the reason. I can clearly remember those pictures, but I can't express them. It seems that there is an inexplicable force swaying me. The voice of heaven continued. Is there power around you? Long Fei gasped, feeling more and more shocked and horrified. Is it the sea? Or the owner of that terrifying hand? Two figures flashed in Long Fei's mind. In his impression, only these two existences might have such power. If it's the sea, it's okay. After all, the sea has been laid out for too long and too much. If it really has been laid out in this world, there is no surprise. www.kaho5.net. That's right. That power is very mysterious, above the rules. It's like what you human beings often say about me alone. Yes, in the face of that kind of power, the rules have to bow their heads. The voice of heaven continued to speak, and even his tone became a little trembling. Long Fei was silent for a moment. Then what did he ask you to guide me? Long Fei asked. He said, let you become the way of heaven, let you become the rule. and then go find the place where the stars fell. The voice of the way of heaven responded. When Long Fei heard this, Tong Kong shrank. Sure enough. Whap! K with Macron nu sh mu 5. Net my system task is indeed related to that power. Thinking of this, Long Fei said, then what should we do? He didn't resist. If you want to get the answer, you must go down this road. Even if it was the path planned by the other party, he had no retreat. As long as I recognize you as the master, I was born because of you. As long as I recognize you as the master, you are the master of the way of heaven, and you are the master of the rules of this world. At that time, I will naturally be able to use the identity of the way of heaven to perceive that place that has existed forever, but is not seen between heaven and earth. The voice of heaven continued. Long Fei's eyes also changed suddenly. So simple. As long as you recognize yourself as the master, isn't this a free door-to-door benefit? The rewards for this task are still extremely rich. And the energy of the robbery is exactly what he needs, but it is too simple. He thought he would have to go through a lot of trouble, but he didn't expect that it was just to let the other party recognize the master. Moreover, the other party kept saying that it was because of him that he was born, as if he was waiting for his arrival, and then recognized himself as the master. This kind of coincidence, the traces are too obvious. It seems that you don't worry about me discovering it at all. Long Fei chuckled lightly, but after a moment, his eyes became indifferent. Okay, if that's the case, then I'll follow this path later, and I want to see who it is. But what Long Fei didn't know was that at this moment in the galaxy of nothingness, the sea was leaning against the beach, enjoying the afternoon sun, leisurely www. Novel. Calm. Law, of course, this world was naturally transformed by their power. Beside him is Long Batian. But at this time, Long Batian looked extremely stable, as if he had experienced something that would be unforgettable to his heart, and he was no longer as arrogant as before. Brother Hai, do you think Long Fei is really capable of turning the tide? Why do I feel that he is going in the opposite direction? Long Batian took a puff of his cigar and said calmly, and when he mentioned Long Fei, he was extremely calm, not filled with righteous indignation like before, let alone killing intent or fighting for power. It seemed that he had given up on the contest with Long Fei. I don't know, just like everything you do is destined. What he does must be done. I just used some means to guide him. As for how far he can go, it depends on himself. Dahai said, lifting it in his hand. Clatter! A colorful fish, as dazzling as a star, River took the bait. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.